Well, I must say it is a pleasure to be here in the presence of his papacy, the newly deemed Pope of agnosticism. Do you want
I'm
to explain,
celebrating.
Steve?
Well, first of all, we need the white smoke. We got to have the white smoke. Well, no, what happened was a friend on Twitter had said, well, hey, if Matt Dillahunty is the Pope of atheism, which, he he gets a kickback on that. He doesn't really like that title, although he's owned it before. Then Steve McRae is the Pope of agnosticism. So I said, you know what? Yeah, raise the white smoke. I'll accept the title. I think it's hilarious.
Wouldn't you rather be a really high priest?
Yes.
Well, high on what? Indica or sativa?
Everything. Life. Jesus. All of that.
By the way,
Okay,
we're drinking today. Aron's here, so I'm not going to. I let him drink alone.
Oh yes, and what I'm having tonight, a little bit off the norm. This is epic, Big Bad Baptist.
That's awesome. That's epic. That's epic. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I made a mistake yesterday when I was doing my counting. I was going back through the videos today. Today is actually the 300th episode of the show. So happy 300. Thank you for joining us. It comes at a time where we are at, I think today we are at almost 2.5 million views. So thank you for sticking around with us. We really appreciate that. We couldn't do it without you guys. This is also the 17th appearance for the man above me, which will be Aron Ra. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you. 17 times?
17 times. 17 times.
I need to
in one form or the other. Mm-hmm. And making his first appearance tonight is Mr. Jason King. Let's say hello to you, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys
Absolutely.
are awesome.
Thank you,
Mr. Ra.
Well, thank you.
And I thought we would start tonight off with kind of a little icebreaker with everyone. I found Cyrus the Skeptic, who, guys, if you have not checked out Cyrus the Skeptic, you need to. The link to this video is in the description, along with the links to the gentlemen that we have in the show tonight's channels. Please go check them out. But Cyrus did a video today where he kind of turned me on to a unique pastor. Now, this guy is something that I think you'll find very, very, very cringeworthy. So we're going to watch the first video, and then we'll get everybody's take on it. But just pay attention to what he says you should do in your walk with the Lord.
Your own destiny. And there's two realms, hissing and kissing. Which do you choose? Remember I read the scripture in Psalm chapter 2, kiss the Son? Hissing and kissing. You can be hissing with your tongue, or you can be kissing with your tongue. Tongue kiss Jesus.
What? Lord rebuke that. Jesus.
All right. So, all right, Dave, we can pull back from that. He says we should.
Jesus and get thee behind me, Satan.
Right. It's the best part of that video, though, is the guy that's actually watching the video, because he obviously is a believer too, and he's like, "Oh no, rebuke that in the name of Jesus." And then the guy who's saying you should tongue kiss Jesus is going, up, 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 up. But that hails in comparison to what you're about to see now. This is the entire reason that I wanted to show this guy in the first place, because I think that if there is a God and he sends messages, this one right here is pretty direct. So, Dave, let's see what happens here.
Hear that? Listen, saints. This is my office. Listen. Do you hear? Do you hear? Listen. Listen.
He a lying ass motherfucker.
Listen.
He know his ass lying. His ass is lying.
Damn. Damn. Jesus Christ.
Is that not the greatest thing ever?
Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah. And you can tell, like, it's that look. That's that look you get when you, like, it's all over. There's no going back now. Like, you're not going to have the same followers that he probably did. Whoever was part of his ministry, but that look on his face was just priceless. So I think that was, if there is a God sending him a direct message that he is not the prophet that he thinks he is. So, okay, let's see what we've got coming up on the 21st. Actually, since it's next week is Thanksgiving, we're going to go up until Wednesday. Miles Powers will be here next Wednesday. He is a really good YouTuber. He does a lot of science-based stuff, but he did Jilly Juice's protocol, where he did actually take the cabbage that can regrow limbs and cure the gay. And what else does she claim, Steve? Oh, it can cure cancer. So her cabbage juice can. Yeah, he actually did it. This is a guy we've talked about it quite a few times. But he actually did the protocol cleanse, and we'll find out how that went for him. And yeah, the last thing on Sunday the 25th. We have the Golden Nuns. Now, this is the last week that you guys can vote. And actually, Aron, you're in the I was looking at the results a little bit ago. You're actually in the finals for 6 different categories. I'm not going to tell you which categories yet, but you are trailblazing in 6 of those categories. Now, if you don't know what this is, basically you can go to tinyurl.com/goldennuns. Link will be in the description as well. And there's 2 parts to this. In the form, there's a YouTube wide part and then a non-sequitur show specific part. So the YouTube wide part is a fill-in. You can fill in whoever you want across YouTube for your favorite content creators channel, animators, video of the year, and that aggregates, and we get a final put out on that. And the non-sequitur specific part, it's for things like your favorite debate that we've had on here, your favorite atheist debater, favorite theist debater, and those are in a multiple choice form. So in 2 of them have a write-in too, so you can put your list there. But if you want to vote for that, this is the last week you can do that. And then on the 25th, we will be presenting those. So make sure that you're here at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, November 25th, to see who wins those. Cool. All right. Now let's get to know who we've got in the show tonight. And Jason King, since you are new, we'll start with you. You want to let everybody know who you are and why you wanted this debate tonight.
Yeah, sure. Jason King. I'm on YouTube. Jason666 King. I don't do Twitter. I don't do Facebook. I don't do any of that bullshit. Instagram. I wanted to debate Aron Ra because I believe that he is the best. So that's why I challenged him. I challenged Matt Dillahunty as well. I also challenged a guy named Muhammad Hijab. He's an Islamic scholar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just want to have a productive and fruitful exchange with somebody that I think needs no introduction, nothing. Aron Ra is Aron Ra. I know what I'm going up against, who I'm going up against, and I relish it. So I'll save the rest for my opening.
Cool. All right. Now we'll switch over to the man that needs no introduction, but nonetheless, we're going to do it anyway. Aron,
yeah,
it is
okay, so
your time, sir.
Yeah, I'm just this guy, you know. Yeah, I mean, I've been on here 17 times. They probably know who I am by now.
You're an
cool.
atheist
like
evangelist, we determine, right? Is that the new thing?
Apparently.
Evangelistic atheism?
The Robert Tilton of atheism.
What would be speaking, what does speaking in atheist tongues sound like?
Go fuck
I think
yourself.
I've already been accused of that. It's when you use, polysyllabic words. You know,
man, I get
sense.
that. I do. I've been there, done that. Yeah.
I said Robert Tilton because tomorrow we have you might appreciate this, Aron. We have Ole Anthony, the guy that brought Robert Tilton down, the guy that runs that watchdog organization that they investigated Benny Hinn and.
Oh, I'd be very interested in that. Can I be on tomorrow? I'd love to talk to that guy.
Sure.
Just to give it a virtual handshake, as it were.
Yeah, he'll be on here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
So to introduce the talk tonight, I figured that we'll let Mr. King kind of take us through a little bit deeper why he wanted to have this debate. And this is a 2-minute clip that we're going to play, and I thought this was, I thought it was really kind of cool in a way, and then kind of like you've been warned. So let's see what Mr.
Speaking of warning, I do have to say one thing. I mean, everybody's saying that this is a debate. What I got was that somebody was going to give us mathematical proof of God. So my first expectation is that I'm going to. What?
I heard the same thing.
Right?
That's what I was told.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring that I'm going to listen to a yet another rendition of the argument from improbability fallacy, and I don't see how that qualifies as a debate. But we'll see.
Well, discussion is probably a better word. I'm used to saying debate, but let's see what he has to say. Let's see what Jason had to say yesterday.
This.
Oh, and Jason, we had to play it in like 1.5 speed.
That's the showrunner over there at Nonsequitur Show, YouTube channel. Twice. And both times, he expressed the same sympathies towards me, which I appreciate, but I don't need. Look, man, I talk Aron Ra up the same as everyone else. This dude is a fucking head chopper. I get it. And what I said to Kyle, and I don't think he really understood, but he will. Within 48 hours, he will understand. That's why I challenged him. That's why I challenged Matt Dillahunty. That's why I challenged Muhammad Hijab. And we'll call the EA Coeting the exception that proves the fucking rule. How about that? I make debate challenges. Because I want the best.
Okay, Dave. Now, what am I going to understand, Mr. King?
Did we have to turn him into one of Marvin's chipmunks?
Because because of the pauses and the breaks in the video, we had to speed it up to like double the speed. Because the breaks in between were just too long. We would be it was like a 5-minute clip we had to take down to 2 minutes. But so Jason, take us through and make me understand why the universe was created, and we'll let you take it away.
Okay. I'm going to leave the mathematical thing off the table. Steve can bring it up. Aron can bring it up. Anyone can bring it up if they want to. What I want to do is I want to approach this like this. It is more likely than not that the universe is created. Now, in that, what I want to do is I want to assume two things. I want to assume naive realism, and I want to assume a B theory of time. If anyone has any problems with that right now, just get it out. Naive realism, B theory of time. Exactly. I didn't think any. And, I think everybody pretty much accepts both of those. Naive realism we can work with. I get it. But here's what I want to do. I want to step away from these things for a second, and I want to really start focusing on like the way in which we define our terms. So, for example, in the statement that I just made, it is more likely than not that the universe was created. Immediately, two problems pose themselves. One is, how do you interpret the word creation? And number two is, how do you interpret the word universe? Now, depending on how we interpret these particular words, we can get different answers. So, for example, universe. What does that mean? And I would ask Aron Ra in his rebuttal or in his opening or whatever to tell me what he thinks it means. Universe. Reality. What I would say is that I think what he will do is he will say that these are just the things that can be proven or that can be demonstrated via the scientific method, what have you. I'll grant that for the time being. So that's universe, right? Creation. That's a bigger problem. A much bigger problem, actually. Because what we see is that
I don't want to interrupt real quick, Jason, but your time is kind of catching up on you. You're going to have to start getting to your point a little bit quicker. You know what I'm saying?
well, then I cede my time. My time. If
you haven't said
a point,
you haven't said anything yet. I mean, like you haven't made it stated your case yet. You have to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to get to your point, like what your proof or whatever.
My proof.
Right.
I'm not making a deductive argument. I'm making an inductive argument, which means we're talking about probabilities. Is it more likely than not that the universe was created? What does the word created mean? I could take that to be existential or formal. I'll take formal. So, like, for example, Kyle, you were created from your parents. Steve, you were created from your parents. The universe was created, well, 13.5 billion years ago by a process that we don't understand. What does the word created actually mean? Now, see, here's where, if you jump cut me with the fucking time thing, then I'm going to ask you for definitions. What does the word created mean? Because created, to me, look, if you take the law of the conservation of energy, you will understand that nothing can be created nor destroyed. However, formally, we observe formal creation all over the place, which is why you exist, why I exist, why everything that is a form exists. So, like, if you want to pull the plug. I concede my time. Look, if you're gonna fucking do this shit, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question real quick, just before we continue. Let me ask you a question real quick, and I want you to be honest with me, okay? Have you had anything to drink prior to coming on here?
Yeah, water.
Water. Okay. Well, I'm just asking, and here's why I ask, because when I talked to you, the first time a couple weeks back, you had a pretty coherent line of thinking and how you were going to approach this. And I interjected a second ago to let you know that this can't go on for 3 hours. And it was, I mean, you weren't getting to your point. So I was trying to give you a friendly little nudge to get to the point already so that we can begin. Because it's been 15 minutes. I'm not sure you've really said much so far. And I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. Hold on. And then you want to start going and saying that I'm jump cutting you in time or something like that. That has zero to do with it. I was giving you a nudge to get to the point. No one's trying to outdo your time. So do you have a reason that you think that the earth is created or not? And if you do, can we get to that point?
Yes. Look at you guys. You guys are funny as shit.
We are hilarious. We're waiting with great anticipation.
I know, right?
You have our undivided attention. This is unusual. Me, Kyle, and Aron in the same room, and nobody's talking.
At this point, I could cede my time because I think he's going to make my point for me. Go ahead.
Wow. So how long do I have? Tell me my time. No, because he conceded his time to me.
Yeah, just go,
So
please.
both of them are
Just,
conceding their time to each other.
Wow, you guys are getting
Okay,
rather triggered.
Here's what we'll do. I'm not triggered, man. Look, you're reading too much into this. Can you make the case of why you have mathematical proof for the existence of God?
Hold on, Steve.
There's a place we can start.
Triggered would not ever mean, no, you go ahead, present your case. I don't need to talk. Let me just listen to you. At no point does anything like triggered ever come into that. Go ahead.
Not even close.
So let's go with the mathematical proof of God. That's something that is concrete, and we can work with and go from there.
Bring up mathematical proof because I forgot to bring my abacus.
Nice.
You can run it by Cortana or Siri if you've got that.
So you did a video on this. Can you take us through the mathematical proof of God, Jason?
Yes.
Oh God, I just said her name and she came up on my computer. Oops. Everybody in the live chat's like, all the windows just went to.
I'll make you all worship before the day is done. But hey, look, that was not a formal proof. It was an informal proof. And the idea behind it is my metaphysics, which is unique. And the one thing that I really wanted to get done tonight that I'm sad has not been getting to is that we need to re-examine labels. Like, for example, am I a theist or am I an atheist? Well, that depends on your label. And so do so much of reality depend on these labels. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, mathematically, we know that there are certain numbers that are incapable of measurement. These are called transcendental numbers. Steve, jump in anytime you want.
Are we talking about
respect you.
Yeah, that's not the definition I would use.
No, we're not
Are we
talking
about the square root
I.
of -1?
No,
that's imaginary.
We're talking about pi and e.
Pi is transcendental, yes. And e is transcendental.
Exactly, transcendental numbers.
It means they don't have no real
These
roots
are no
in the equation. That's all. That's all it means. But what
these are no.
Y'all are stepping over each other. Steve, let him finish his point, please.
Yeah, interrupting people.
No, Steve's fine. Dude, Steve.
That's such a bad man.
Steve is fine.
Steve
can interrupt me anytime he wants.
I'm frustrated right now, Jason. I'm frustrated.
No, I'm not
right
trying
now,
to. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Listen, I very rarely get frustrated, but you're not saying anything, and I really want you to say something. Like, I really want you. You've said a lot of words, but you're not saying anything that we can tangibly grasp, like latch onto, and have a discussion about. If it's a thing where it's going to be like how you see things and how we see things, and it's one of those type of arguments, this is not going to go anywhere, and we really need it to go somewhere.
Help me out with my remedial
Where do you want it to go?
Okay. Help me out with my remedial math because I don't understand. I mean, I've seen pi in algebra and in geometry, so in both cases would indicate that it can be measured.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of an immeasurable number is a little bit bizarre. I mean, even I has a value in some degree.
It does.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. It has a measure, but you cannot measure it with any yardstick. That's okay. Pi.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes before we say goodbye to you, Jason. So please get to a point, because it's
wow. This might be the most surreal conversation I've ever had in my life. I'm actually really enjoying it.
This is not working, and you have a bunch of people sitting here wanting something. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to get to a point.
You know what, Kyle? You can fuck yourself. I'll take the 10 minutes. No, seriously. You give flat earthers more respect than you give me.
They actually
And
say something. It may be bullshit, but they actually say something.
I am saying something, but you flipped the script on me.
I did. How
You
did I
wanted
flip the
me to
script on
talk about. You wanted to look, dude. You wanted to talk about one thing. We can talk about another. Is the universe created? Depends on what you mean by the word created. Created according to what? An existential cause or a formal cause? I will say that the universe is created formally.
Okay, can I
Just
jump
by
in real quick,
virtue.
Kyle? You mind?
No, he's
talking about
he's going somewhere now.
Okay, because he's talking about Aristotelian four causes. That's all his argument is. It's just which cause of the Aristotelian four causes are you going to appeal to? That's it. That's the entire argument in a nutshell.
I told him that
formal,
I told him he had his
material,
10
and final. That's it.
That's fine. I told him he has 10 minutes. We're gonna give him his 10 minutes. I'm gonna follow through with what I said. But if we get that 10 minutes and there's nothing that Aaron can work with, then that's just it. But I'm gonna give him his 10 minutes.
You guys are funny. You guys are really funny, man.
He's actually a professional
Clock ticking.
comedian. So yeah, that's
Clock's
his job.
ticking, Jason.
To say jokes.
How are you gonna leave out of here, Jason? Are you gonna leave out of here not lasting longer than any flat earther, or do you actually want to make an attempt at having a discussion about something? The choice is yours, man. I mean, we're gonna sit here and chat either way. It's either gonna be with you or without you.
Fine. With me.
You need to talk then.
Yeah, I kind of get that. Let me
You
ask
agreed
you
on
this.
something. Fantastic. Mazel tov.
Let me ask you something. Do you believe in the principle of parsimony?
Occam's razor. Occam's razor. Occam's razor. Yeah.
He's asking.
Yes.
Aren't.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's talking to Arn.
I'm asking.
Go ahead.
I'm asking all
My
of
bad.
you.
Well, it's between
I'm
you and
asking
Aaron.
all
Steve and I
of
are
you.
just here to guide
Especially
this.
you,
So
Kyle. No,
talk to
fuck
Aaron.
you,
No,
Kyle.
no,
You're
listen.
being
You're especially
You're the
me
one-
right now because I'm the one that's holding you to task. That's the only reason. It has nothing else to do with me. So, and I get that. Okay, I get it. But direct your questions to Aaron because that's who you're having the discussion with. Okay, let's not derail us any further. So, Aaron, do you believe in parsimony? You're muted, Aaron.
I wonder how long I've been muted because
There you go. There you go.
Because you got here.
yeah. So essentially, yes. I mean, there are some explanations that really are seemingly unnecessarily complex, but for the most part, I would buy into that. Yes.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. Why?
I find that it's the simplest answer.
It works?
Most often is correct. And when I say simple, I don't mean like the
No.
comparison of,
You just circled
What?
yourself there. You said
how did I do
you
that?
find it works most often. So it's simplest because it works most often because it's simplest. So you just did a roundabout.
That's not
Okay,
what I
go
said.
ahead. Go ahead.
I said most often
Why do you-
the simplest answer most often turns out to be correct. But as I said before, there
How
are
do you know
occasions
that?
What?
How do you know
what?
that?
How do I know that the simple answer is most often correct?
Yes.
The one, and to be specific, what we're talking about is not that an answer that requires a great deal of complexity, but an answer that requires a whole bunch of contrived assumptions added to it, right? So we don't need to add a whole bunch of assumptions. If the simple answer works, the simple answer is probably correct. We don't have to imagine a whole great big conspiracy of Illuminati reptiles and all like that to explain what's going on.
I never conspiracy Illuminati reptiles, but whatever. Yeah, sure. I just want to know why you put that in your stock of axioms. Like,
That
when
we
you
don't
look
need
at
to
the
make
world,
that we don't need to make unnecessary assumptions to add on to relatively simple explanations or explanations that can be demonstrated to be accurate without those additional erroneous and superfluous assumptions?
oh, well, you're assuming that they're both erroneous and
If they're not necessary, they're not necessary, right? If you have an explanation that works without evoking a whole bunch of additional, let's just call them additional assumptions, you already have an answer that works. Why assume a bunch of other things on top of it?
well, there is no absolute reason to do so. However, science answers to the data, which means that the data could point you in a direction that is more complex. Whereas you're like, if you want to go to monism, all is one, right? That's the simplest explanation. It doesn't require anything added on to it.
I somehow suspect
You
that's
add-
not correct.
I think I'm going to agree with Aron. At the
All right,
first,
well-
I agree with Aron.
Take it out of you, Jason. I'm sorry to do that, but it just didn't work. All right. I have no idea what you're talking about, and it's just jumping all over the place. And
I
just
actually do know what he's talking about. It's just not right. That's all.
I had
Tell me
6
why.
hours.
Wrong.
I had 6
Tell me
hours
why,
of
Steve.
Well, no, well, basically, when you're dealing with something like idealistic monism, or the idea that well, first of all, I don't believe that we're in the mind of God. If you're trying to suggest something like that, but when we're talking about philosophy, we're talking about parsimony. The way the Occam razors work, or the law of parsimony, is that when you have two equally explanatory and predictive hypotheses, you choose the one with the less assumptions. You don't unnecessarily multiply the amount of assumptions you have in any kind of hypotheses. So in order to have a competing hypothesis to something, you need something that's equal explanatory power. And this is one thing I do agree with Aron on. God does not give you any explanation for shit or anything like that. And I know you're theist, and you're not projecting that, but you're saying that monism would be a viable position, and it's not, because that is not something that explains a damn thing. This is one argument I have with theists. I don't think the God postulate explains anything. Same reason why I don't think the argument from contingency explains anything. It's a non-explanatory, quote, explanation. It doesn't do anything. Aron, is that, I don't want to speak for you, but would you agree on that?
Yeah, that's
God doesn't really explain anything.
Well, yeah, I've often. Well, this
Okay,
is the crux of my favorite axiom. Is religion or science doesn't know everything. Religion doesn't know anything. That when you the God of the gaps explanation, whatever science can't explain is somehow explained by God. When magic isn't an explanation of anything, I don't know, therefore I know, is what you're saying. Well, it's not necessarily what you're saying. It's what the theist is saying by making that argument.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm an atheist. What I want to do now is we're 30 minutes in. I want to call Kyle out for being. Yeah, I want to call Kyle out for being a punk. Call you out for being a punk ass bitch because you were trying to shut this shit down before it even got fucking started.
Wow.
Now we're getting in to what
He
really
invited you.
Well, wait, I think he just took the gloves off and went smack, Kyle.
You really are.
Go ahead and talk your shit. Go ahead and talk your shit.
David,
Let
will
me
you mute him for a
fucking
second?
finish.
No, you're not going to finish.
No, by all means.
Here's what you are.
Please,
here's what you are, Jason. You're the equivalent of a human kazoo. You have a design and you make a lot of noise, but it's not really coming out to anything. What you're doing right now is you're trying to. It's an age-old tactic. You're trying to push the performance that you're bringing tonight off on me because I'm the one that took you to task for not saying anything. If Steve had have done it, it would be Steve who was the punk ass bitch. I mean, and I get that. Like it's just the way that it is. But I'm not going to sit here and let you waste our time, especially not Orange time, bloviating about shit that doesn't make any sense. You sound like you're drunk. I'm just being honest with you. You sound like you're drunk, and maybe you had one too many to calm the nerves down. I don't know. That happens. So you can go ahead and you can say that I'm a punk ass bitch, and I'm just going to laugh at you because the arguments that I heard from you for the past 30 minutes was a punk ass bitch. If you want to be honest,
I didn't hear an argument.
Even better. So
yeah, I don't think I heard an argument either, to be honest with you. So
this is on you, Jason. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you can call me all the names that you want to. This is on you. This is your fault. I invited you.
Jason,
I've been nothing but respectful to you, and this is on you, buddy. I'm sorry, but it's on you.
Yeah, and Kyle is correct. Jason, this is the first time and probably the only time in my life where the debate is so one-sided that I won with only the other person speaking when I didn't have to say a thing.
Yeah. So we're gonna say goodbye to you now,
Pretty
Jason. Hate that it turned out that way, but yeah, that's the way it is.
I am too. Yeah.
And I would like to I guess for I guess we could.
That's the funny thing is you can cut me off,
right?
But I'm still talking.
Can't, trust me.
Sure.
No,
that's an example right there. You said I can cut you off, but I'm still talking. What does that mean?
The software we have allows us to do a lot of things.
Look. What's ultimately really sad about this, Jason, is that you actually are very like you're intelligent. I've watched your videos. Like you have stuff to say and you have opinions. But the Jason that I'm watching right now is not the one that I talked to in setting up this debate. I mean, it's just not. And you trying to push the blame off on the people who are in this call who have worked to get you here, and you wanted to talk to Aron because you look up to Aron. Saying derogatory things towards me isn't going to help you out on that aspect of it.
Let me ask you a question then.
Sure.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you let it go on? If you like dumpster fires.
I like dumpster
fire.
Right.
This isn't a dumpster fire. This is just a low-level tragedy. I mean, This is one of those coming-of-age movies where you come to that scene that nobody wants to. Says me. I'm the one still saying it. This is one of those coming-of-age movies where you come to the embarrassing scene and you don't want to watch it anymore.
What is that? An appeal to your own authority? Come on, bro.
Start calling out fallacies.
You're better than that.
Jason, you are in no means to call out fallacies. Okay.
I'm still the one talking. I'm still the one talking. That's what he said.
You're talking because we're allowing you to. You do understand that, right?
I do understand that, Steve.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to
suggest. I do understand that.
I'm going to make two suggestions. One, I'm not talking to Jason anymore. Jason needs to go sober up.
All right.
Jason needs to go have some coffee. And I want everybody to notice that I told somebody to go sober up. And I'm drinking like 11.8% from a big old pint bottle, and I'm telling somebody else to go sober up. I suggest two things. One, I'd like you guys to arrange another debate with Kent Hovind and Jaronism, because I think that would be fucking hysterical. I want to see.
That'd be division by zero, dude.
That debate. What?
That'd be like division by zero.
Would it be great? I still think it'd be absolutely great. To have Kent Hovind have to use science for the first time ever in his life in a position where he could actually win.
All right,
I would have to pull for Kent in that debate, though. I would have to pull for Kent in that debate.
I would too. Did you happen to watch Kent Hovind and Mr. Intelligent Design, Aron? Ever see that one?
No, not Mr. Intelligent Design.
No, that actually happened.
Because
but let me tell you something. That actually happened, and it was so bad. Kent left. Kent thought that he was so bad. He didn't understand him. Kent, this is too crazy even for me, and he left.
Yeah, well, that's Mr. Intelligent Design. He's a mental case. It maybe if somebody who's playing a character on being incompetent. I don't know. I would like to think that nobody's really that bad. But with Jaronism being that the primary thing that Jaronism argues about is the reason that you believe in a flat earth is because you need to believe in God. Well, if you already believe in God, well, then you've taken away the reason to believe in a flat earth, right? So that negates Jaredism's argument. So if you pit him up against Kent Hovind, and now Kent Hovind has to argue from the scientific position for the shape of the Earth, and how can he do that? Kent's never done science before. He just declares himself to be this great scientist. So that would, I mean, I'm telling you, that would be a really brilliant debate. I would love to see that. That would be a huge fucking show.
Can I tell you something? I actually brought that up to before we approached you the first time about doing a discussion with Kent. I actually talked to Kent about doing a flat Earth debate, and he won't do it. He won't entertain the idea of talking to a flat earther.
Do you know
he
why?
Just
because he doesn't know enough to actually show the Earth is round. He doesn't know enough science to actually outwit and out science a flat Earth.
I think it's just that he doesn't take it seriously.
He preaches young Earth creations, and he's talking about taking flat Earth seriously. Really?
I think that if Jaredism and Kent Hovind were to actually agree to a debate, we should get G-Man to moderate that shit.
Yeah, right. Steve or I won't be on that. That's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, we can't take that level.
Didn't I suggest?
How about G-Man's cat?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Aron.
Aron
suggested for him.
Fine. If Steven Kyle won't host it, Aron Ra and I will host it.
Good.
Well, what happened was Aron did suggest G-Man would host it, and I brought it up to G-Man with sincerity. I was actually asking him with sincerity that if he wanted to do it, and he just didn't understand what I was saying to him for some reason. His cat understood the topics better than G-Man did. So,
right.
Yeah. Because
what was suggestion number 2, sir?
Well, the B side of both of those records. I mean, well, let's try a somewhat lesser debate where we have Mr. Intelligent Design versus Nephilim Free, and I think that would be mildly amusing too.
Oh man,
it would be a big drug. It'd be more like a scientific experiment, and like Special Olympian boxing would be kind of what that would be.
No. Nephi won't come on here. By the way, we're not elite enough for him.
Have you ever heard of a Rose patent, Aron?
No.
Okay. Now, see, Steve, that would be.
I thought you liked Aron. What happened? Why would you do that to him?
Oh, you love Rose. Don't even play.
I love Rose. No, I do love Rose. She's crazy as a freaking. I love her.
So Chris is here. Chris is here.
Right.
Chris is an atheist that he does a lot of like scholar work with the Bible. He studies the Bible as an atheist. But he said yesterday, he thought yesterday you were coming on the. Was it yesterday you thought he was coming on, Chris? He wanted to meet you, so we figured this would be a good time. He can pop in and say hello. I guess since the show's that was the quickest body addition to the body count that Aron has. That
was a TKO though. That wasn't even a knockout by Aron. So
Aron literally didn't say anything. Like he.
That you do in a boxing match when they ring the bell and one of the guys falls over, passes out.
Yeah, basically.
That was one of the single most amazing things I've ever seen, and I have sat there and translated Mr. Intelligent Design. Like, I've read his book.
He did. He tried to
be more intelligible.
No, this is funny. This is funny, Aron. You'll appreciate this. Mr. Intelligent Design is coming on here to have a discussion soon, and the only way he would do that is if we let Chris be the interpreter for him. Now, Chris is an atheist, remember that. But he trusts Chris enough to go and so Chris will be the person that Mr. ID will be telling his arguments to, and then Chris will be kind of conveying what he actually means by that. So how did you get into that predicament, Chris? Like
Well, first was my friend Brian was like, "Hey, join this call." I was like, "Okay." And then got in the middle of it, and Steve and I started we talked a little bit about pre-Socratics, and then Steve went on a walk and was like, "Here, have this fucking hand grenade of Mr. ID. You guys can fucking deal with that." And then Ocean was sitting there commentating on
he latched onto you, basically.
Carrie's inability to understand anything. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there wondering if I'm really actually this stupid because I'm understanding what this guy is saying.
Yes.
You were steel manning him. You were trying to steel man Mr. Intelligent Design's argument the best. Well, and I hate to use the word argument because it's really not, but you were trying to give him the most principle of charity interpretation humanly possible. And I find that to be admirable, albeit maybe misguided, but you at least attempted to, which is far more than any of us will have the empowerment to ever do.
Well, I'll tell you what, while we've got you here, Aron, where have you, you recently traveled and done some speaking engagements and.
You can say that almost any time.
Yeah, that's true.
A month ago today, I was in Manchester for QED, and then I celebrated my birthday in Reykjavik. And last weekend, or a couple days ago, I was in Austin. I was on the Atheist Experience.
Yes,
I
busy man.
A little bit, and I'm happy to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you might want to mention your video that you just put out with your ongoing saga with Mr.
I was going to say that. Yes.
I was way ahead of you.
Walk us through that.
I'm actually kind of excited about this. I mean, just people have told me that Kent Hovind is beneath me and not worth my time, and literally they might be true. Those statements, but let me have my fun. I've been wanting a scrap with that con man for more than 20 years. And he is the example to me of the worst of creationism, of everything that's wrong with creationism, and other creationists agree with that. So that's why I'm having so much fun with him. I hate liars, and I hate people who manipulate other people and deceive other people. And this guy's running a cult where he has the only facility that has running water and electricity, and from what I hear, he has people doing all his work for him who sleep on cots in a barn or some such thing, and they worship this guy. And I don't know how the hell can you listen to this man for 4.5 seconds and not realize he's an idiot. And I used to think that it was just because he was a. Yeah. I know that religious people respond to confidence more than accuracy, and actual scholars only care about accuracy, so they're very hesitant to say anything to make sure that they want to be able to verify or to defend anything that they say. I get that, but with Hovind and people of his ilk, I mean, as long as you're completely narcissistic, you have an overbloated sense of your own importance, and you convince everybody else that you're the absolute master of whatever, then a lot of these people will somehow look up to you and admire you, especially if you say the occasional ridiculous joke that maybe only appeals to some people that are already looking for somebody better than themselves, who don't have a great deal of self-esteem. And I feel really bad for those people. But I have heard from one or two people in the last year or so that have told me that they used to, and probably more than that, but it told me that they used to buy into Kent Hovind. They were even going to go to Hovind's encampment, but that they started seeing my videos and they started realizing how full of shit he is. And so I'm achieving a goal because, and I have people telling me that members of their own family, or that people that they know are still connected to him, or still, you're paying him, giving him tithe, or actually donating their time and going to his compound to be little cult members of his. And so I feel like I am completely justified in taking him on, and I'm enjoying doing it. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful thing is that there's not a damn thing he can do to me, because he does not have any meat to him at all. All he's done is take advantage of professional scientists who always believe that they're dealing with people of accountability, people who are going to be honest, and people who are going to respect the data. But Hovind doesn't. The thing that clued me to that was when I watched the debate with him, and I wish I could pull it up. I was searching around on the web to try to find it, but I remember this one debate that he had where somebody had predicted what he was going to say, what he was going to demand evidence of. And so they had a stack of printed out, peer-reviewed articles concerning exactly that, evidence of the very thing that Hovind asked for. And Hovind turned his head to look away from it and literally waving hand dismissal. He goes, "That's not evidence, that's just a bunch of paper."
that impression is
tells you
killer.
how dishonest he is. He does not care what the truth is. And why would he? I mean, I've seen video of Hovind admitting that he's never had to have a real job. And that's why he does what he does, so that he won't ever have to have a real job. And that's my biggest problem with people like him.
I 1000% believe that, actually. I'm convinced of that beyond all doubt.
The one thing he can do to you, Aron, though, is filibuster you. Like he's weighing you down with what you said, 5 hours of video.
Yeah, but all of it is irrelevant. I mean, if all he can do is make jokes about my personal appearance or make insinuations about, I don't know, a lot of these religious people, a lot of his followers especially, they want to attack my, I don't know, sexual orientation or something, as if that would matter, right? I mean, I don't get it.
You're a beautiful man compared to Ken Hovind. I don't know what the hell he's bitching about.
No. I was a beautiful man. In my 20s, I was a much better man than Hovind ever was. And I'm okay with looking like the grizzled monstrosity that I am now. Because
you me both, brother.
I don't have here's a funny thing. I just want to sidetrack. I remember meeting old men when I was a teenager who had like gone to work in the mine when they were teenagers, and now they've retired, and the only job they've ever had was in that fucking mine. And so you've lived in the same town, and you've worked in that one job, only that one job, and you've slept with all of 3 women in your life. You know, that's sad. I don't have that. I don't tell those stories anymore.
You shouldn't either, Steve.
Still. I probably shouldn't, right?
Well, okay, yeah, but the thing is I don't have to follow Ken's women.
Oh, hang on, what's that, Chris? Wait, Chris was saying something.
How many times have you made tweets and chatted with me about all the hot women you're around?
No. It used to be around. Now it's infrequent. There's only like 1 or 2 hot women I know, and they're all lesbians, so it doesn't really do me.
Okay, so he's talking to Steve.
Yeah, he's talking to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've dated some very beautiful women in my day. I can't complain.
Yeah, and neither can I. I've had a wonderfully misspent youth. I mean, I wish that I could be like, like Motorhead had an album called No Remorse, and I wish I could say that I have no remorse, because I've done things that I'm disgusted at my own behavior. That's why I always say that if I can meet myself when I was, in my early 20s, I would whoop that boy's ass. What the hell are you thinking? But I guess everybody feels that way about everyone who they were when you were young.
Definitely.
Yeah, it must be spending my youth in a really strange.
Oh, hold on, Chris.
Well, he does 5 hours of video where he doesn't give me any substance. He doesn't talk about the actual science, like, ever. He just makes these insinuations. I mean, I did not want to attack his character at all. But when he repeated 6 times that he'd never been convicted of fraud, oh, no. I'm doing everything I can to ignore that. But then when you accuse me of lying, we're done.
Yep.
He accused me of, we're bringing it now. So I'm sorry. So I'm really having fun with this. I intend to go through if he uploads all the rest of his videos, I will watch all the rest of his videos. I will skip over all his petty little prissy kind of bitter butthurt comments and only get to the science and show that he does not have any idea.
How do you have time for that?
I'm not trying to convince him. I'm obviously showing his followers. I mean, he had something like 7,800 views on the first video that he uploaded challenging me. And my first round video got 53,000 views in that same amount of time. But my response to him today, 15,000 as of an hour ago. And I uploaded it this morning. So he's not going to be able to ignore me. His followers will see this. His followers will see that he is a liar and a crook. And that's all that really matters.
and it's kind of a catch-22 because a couple of years ago, when Ken only had like 50 some odd thousand, I think he's like, I don't know, 70,000 something now. He's put on like 20,000 subs since we introduced him back to the community. He was kind of, had relegated to the realm of obscurity. We had brought him on.
So
with,
you
King
guys
Crocodile.
brought him back.
Yeah. Well, hang on. It's a
begging
double-edged sword because what I found this to be the case. Even though he has gotten a lot of attention because of the debates he's had both on my channel on the Nonsequitur show and many other things he's been doing, the vast majority that sub to him, I find, don't agree with him. They're pretty much hate subs. I think we're actually having a more beneficial impact because now more people are probably realizing he's a con artist, he's a fraud, he doesn't give a shit about the actual topics. He's doing this as you said.
Need to know.
But
this is what people need to know. Alabama school children. Public schools in Alabama are busing their students to his compound, not just to be lied to and deceived, which is already criminal enough, but also he's got people coming onto his compound to donate their time, not just their money, which is bad enough, but to donate their time doing his labor for him.
That's crazy.
So that lazy lying ass does not have to.
Dude.
Right. So that he needs to be shut down. The best he should have been able to hope for when he came out of prison was to be bagging groceries at Winco. That should have been the loftiest aspiration he could have, would be to have a boss for the first time in his life.
Can you just say, Aron, can you just say paper or plastic real quick in Kent's voice?
Oh, paper or
I
plastic.
go to Winco and they have great cashiers at Winco. I actually love Winco.
You're right. I should have said Walmart.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I like Winco. They're great.
Winco is employee owned. I should have said Walmart because they're the shit stain of all grocery stores.
There you go.
It's funny that you guys are having like this formal back and forth now after following like your first run in, like because your first run in seems like what happens after the formal aspect goes along for long enough, and then you get to the point where you just can't go on anymore, and all hell breaks loose. But this, I was telling Aron before we came on that I was actually surprised that Kent agreed to do this, or kind of went along with this, because this gives an opportunity for him to, if you put those videos side by side, it's evidence heavy on one side, and it's a lot of talking and rhetoric on the other. And I think if people on his side especially watch that, then it in no way does it have a good light for him in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's totally you kill it.
He challenged me.
So why he agreed to do this is crazy.
I don't get it. He must be desperate for the publicity, but I'm not giving him the publicity he wants. I mean, in each of these rounds, we've asked each other questions. I haven't seen whether he's answered any of my questions, because I don't know. Maybe that'll be on version 8, episode 8 or 9 that he hasn't uploaded yet. I haven't seen anything but the one video that I responded to. If he uploads the rest, I will address the science, the relevant data on each of these as necessary. But I forgot. I just sidetracked myself. Now I can't remember what the fuck I was just saying.
We were talking about the how it's evidence heavy on your side and why he agreed to.
Oh yeah, so we ask each other questions. So I challenge him again to go watch the video of the phylogeny challenge so that you have a clue what it is this time when you try to answer it. Because as a creationist, you have to answer that question. And if you can't answer that question, you're done. It really does come down to that. And creationists can't admit that because they can't answer that, because they don't like. Creationists fear the burden of proof more than vampires fear garlic. I mean, they can't deal with it. They can't explain anything. They want to take the idea that whatever you can't explain works as evidence for them. And it does not work that way. If you want to propose that, well, you can't explain that, therefore what? Give me the evidence of your magic imaginary friend. If you haven't got it, you ain't got it. And this ends up being unexplained. So Kent asked me, I asked him a handful of questions he can't answer, not honestly. And I've already seen that, he can't figure out, he doesn't learn anything. I mean, how many times have we gone over about my name, for example? He still can't get my name right. Yep. But he asked me questions. What did he ask me? Explain to me. I would like you to explain to me, as if it's a challenge. I would like you to explain to me where the first chemicals came from. How did we get silver and gold, for example? Explain that. Really?
Oh my God, that's so good.
I mean, fucking Fred Hoyle. How come
It's
you,
funny
how,
you
how did
mentioned
you
that
guys
Kent.
not?
It's funny you
Go
mentioned
ahead.
Kent doesn't learn anything, because one of the questions I got asked today, I was a guest speaker on the atheist community of Austin's Discord server. They invited me to come on to have a Q&A. And one of the questions I got is, who is your most frustrating guest? And other than George Lujak, who's just beyond it.
Oh, he was amazing.
Yeah, but I put Hoban. And the reason I put Hoban as
Jason is the new winner
frustrating-
of that category.
Jason might be in contention. But the reason I said Hoban was the exact reason you just gave, is because Hoban willfully will never, ever take correction. No matter how many times you tell him something, he'll continually make the same stupid arguments that he's already been demonstrated to be wrong countless times over God knows how many decades. This is why I think he's one of the most dishonest people I've ever ran across, because he has never won. And matter of fact, the other day, he was on with Jackson Wheat, a very great phylogenists, if you know who he is. He's a student of phylogeny, loves the topic. And I had actually asked Kent in the side chat. Yeah, you know Jackson Wheat.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And so I'd asked Kent, I said, hey, has Kent ever corrected the fact that he had a claim in the 9th edition Creationist Handbook saying that one mammoth was carbon dated 2 different ways and found, 2 different times. And he was explaining it was 2 different mammoths found 8 years apart in different strata, one in 1940 and one in 1948. And his response was this: well, I don't use that claim, or you would have to use it in your accent, but I don't use that claim any longer because it's there's some, controversy with it, but it doesn't negate everything else that I've said. But he wouldn't come out and say that he was wrong. He wouldn't come out and say, yes, the claim is bogus. That is how dishonest the man is.
Man, it's like Ray Comfort.
So I
and
can't
fucking
wait.
Well,
bananas.
bogus claim.
I'm sorry,
Nice.
Chris. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just about to say it's like Ray Comfort and the fucking bananas. Like he
Ray
got
Comfort is
proven wrong a million times. It's like, and then he said he was wrong, and now he's back to saying that he was right.
Yeah. Now Ray Comfort is annoying and he's grossly dishonest. But for me, the king of all idiots is Kent Hovind. Although Lujak, that guy Lujak, he was otherworldly.
He's
He
next
was
level,
out
isn't
of his fucking mind.
Yeah.
Okay,
Aaron got
I
that's the night that Aaron was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Did Aron?
Fuck this guy.
Did you go back and watch him and King Crocoduck too? That was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
No, but since you mentioned King Crocoduck, I want and you guys mentioned oh God, what was the other name? What was the other name you just mentioned? Who?
Jackson Wheat.
You were just talking about
Jackson Wheat.
Jackson Wheat, yeah. Yeah, because I mentioned in my video, I said shout out to Bill Ludlow and to King Crocoduck, and I didn't mention Logic and all the other people that had roasted and toasted Kent Hovind, because he is the shooting fish in a barrel guy. And I wish that I had just thrown out a handful more names of people I know that had rolled over this dude.
You
Anyway, I like my work to be easy. I like to have series to work with, so that I know as soon as I'm finished with one video exactly what video I need to do next. And if Hovind will upload the rest of his videos, I would love to do nothing but kick him in the crotch for the rest of the month. That'd be great, and I can get all my videos out for the month and be easy and move on to December.
I'm totally okay with that. I think it's great. I mean, I like I said, I'm just surprised that he agreed to do that. But since you said,
what could he get out of it? He asked
nothing.
me questions. He asked me questions every high school graduate should have known the answer to already. How do you not?
Well, he taught high school, right? He taught high school, right, Aaron?
In
He was a high school biology
So
teacher.
he taught at at like 2 Christian schools and then one that he created.
Well, Chris,
Go ahead, Steve.
I was just say I've actually asked him this direct question. It is buried. It's hard to find, but it's on a video when he did a debate with Negation of P on my channel, and I asked this very clear question. I'm very surprised people have not found this clip and utilized it, because I had asked him, have you ever taught anything that is accredited? Have you ever taught a course where somebody can say, I have accreditation for this, as in public classroom or college or high school? His answer was a definitive no. He actually, that was one of the very few times he actually said, yeah. So what?
I've made videos for the last 5 years that for education of a middle school class, right? So I mean, should I call myself a middle school and high school teacher? Because I could more fairly and accurately say that than Hovind can. But it would still be dishonest if I said it, and it would be more honest than when he says it.
Yep.
Okay, I got a question for y'all.
Talking to Hovind's followers, that's bizarre.
Oh,
you ever get into it with them?
Yes. Listen, from your debate with Kent Hovind, all right, it's the ongoing video that we have. I still get like, I would venture to say 30 to 45 comments a day on the video from back in February, and it's still it's the biggest point of contention on this channel. I think it's not only is it the most watched video, but it's the most controversial. And it's funny to go through and read somebody say, like, it shocks you to read someone go, Aron completely lost this one. Kent Hovind beat him with science and the Bible, and how wonderful it is that they can go together. And it's just like, how, like, how?
Point when?
I don't think I don't think you're using those words right. You're not using those words right.
The easiest question to ask a Hovind follower, and I do this all the time, is what point did Hovind make? Tell me what Hovind's argument was. Do you know? Nobody can do that.
Hovind's argument in this last video was that, and this was an important thing, I probably honestly could have stressed a little bit more in the video, where Hovind says, you have to explain where life started. Well, yeah, science has an explanation for the origin of the universe, and it's called, the Big Bang Theory. And science has an explanation for the origin of chemicals, and it's called nucleosynthesis. And science has an explanation for the formation of the planets and stellar system, and that's stellar or planetary formation theory. And science has explanations for the origin of life, and this is the accumulated or associated hypotheses of abiogenesis. And the last two, macroevolution and microevolution, they're both the same fucking thing. They're both evolution. That science has an explanation for biodiversity. So biodiversity is the theory of evolution. That's what the theory of evolution explains. The theory of evolution does not explain the Big Bang. It doesn't explain the origin of. That's a different theory that explains that. It doesn't explain. There's a different theory that explains the origin of chemicals. But Hovind wants to put everything that science believes in the evolution category. So he's got everything upside down and backwards, and he's absolutely clueless. But you know that he's selling to his base. He is the P.T. Barnum of religious apologists.
Oh yeah, that's a good. That's the
first
analogy
time
too.
I've ever heard that analogy.
Good one. Well, Aron, you said that you wanted to join us tomorrow to talk to Holy Anthony. I'm gonna play a.
Yeah, I don't want to do a lot
clip.
of talking. I just want to be.
Sure.
I just want to be there. I want to address the person and just say thank you. Among other things, because I'll tell you this tomorrow. I mean, I'll say it again for the audience tomorrow. I mean, I'm a Dallas resident, and Bobby Tilton was a Dallas evangelist, and he was in full power when I first moved here, and boy, did I hate that asshole.
Yeah, there's this clip right here that I want to show really fast, just to as we kind of wrap up. Whatever we call tonight. I don't think this was even a dumpster fire. This was a. This was like souping up. Go ahead, Chris.
This was a fizzle.
I was hoping so much for this to just burn up, just flames as high as mountains. Like it was so ready for that, and then I gave him
every opportunity to like make us like, even after he called me a punk ass bitch, like. I even still was like, okay, please continue to make your argument. Like I was fair with he can't say that we weren't fair on that.
The reason I ceded my time to him there. The reason I ceded my time to him.
Go ahead.
I realized he couldn't make an argument.
No.
He all he could do is say, I assume this, and not in the sense that that would be meaningful to anybody, but in the just general sense that nobody would even argue with. Okay, fine. Yep. So pointless,
right? Yeah, it was, and that's not the like when we talked. He had like it was completely different. I don't know. It's like talking to two different people. But he's in the live chat now saying that we're censoring, we're a censorship channel, and it's funny. It's funny that before we started the show, Jason King had nothing but praise for the show. Like we are He watches us all the time. We're great, and it's only when it goes south that now we're just this.
What was his name?
How do you censor somebody when you tell them? How do you censor somebody when you tell them you have 10 full minutes, say what you want, you just sit back, everybody's quiet. And by the way, I mean this with all sincerity. Kyle, myself, and Aron in a room where it's quiet for more than 10 seconds, unheard of. So he had the floor.
Yeah.
Right?
The thing is, what was his name? James? Was it James?
Jason King.
Jason. Okay. So this is going online. This is off on the interwebs. So when Jason wakes up with a hangover tomorrow, he's going to look up at what he'd been building up to all week, and he's going to see what he did. And this would be maybe a clue that, I don't know, maybe you ought to cut back on the dosage or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I do. In that sense, I feel for him because he's a pleasant guy. When we talked leading up to this, very pleasant. He was enjoyable to talk to, and he had really good. Like coherent, I mean, not really good arguments, but like it made sense. It was something you could work with and have a discussion off of. And this what happened tonight is just, yeah.
Let me ask you that. You said, but not really good arguments. I mean, when we're talking about creation, and I realize he wasn't talking before a God, and this question has come up with me a few times. People ask, what is the best argument for God I've ever heard? I can't say that there's a best argument because there hasn't been a good one. I mean, just not ever. Can either of you say that you've ever heard a good argument for God?
No. I would agree with you on that.
I can say there's one, but it's just because it's George Barkley.
and good is a value judgment. I usually put it this way. There's horrific arguments, and then there's arguments that I think of interest. Like I think the argument from contingency is interesting. It doesn't get you anywhere. But there's other arguments for God that I think are just horrific. So on that scale, does that make sense? It's all relative, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know because I wish, and this is where I feel unprepared because I mean I deal with whenever I have to deal with philosophers, when the thing is that we're working with a completely different tool set. When I'm dealing with a creation scientist, then I know exactly what kind of bogosity that we're working with there. And I don't really know when I'm arguing with a philosopher exactly what the hell is bullshit about their position. So it's like people figure that out about me pretty quick. Well, let's just jump into philosophy then, okay? Because that's just going to make my eyes roll back.
We agree there. We agree there.
Yeah.
Steve,
Chris and I, we're on the same page.
Yeah,
Chris
Steve,
and I,
that's what I'm saying. Steve and I argue about this all the time because I think it's just a bunch of mental masturbation. Like I'm not even going to get off on a tangent. See, Steve's already triggering me now. Let me ask a question. Let me ask Aron a question. Let me ask Aron the question. The question, okay, the one that Steve and I have been battling each other against since day one.
Wait, we just have one? No, we got more than that.
Aron, no, we have quite a few, but this is the big one. Aron, is doubt a virtue?
Absolutely, because I mean, my definition of a fool is one who too readily accepts improbable claims from questionable sources on insufficient evidence. And you don't want to, my goal would be that I'm not going to be fooled into believing something that isn't even true. So I would rather risk not believing something is true and be skeptical about whether the thing is true than to believe something that isn't true. Because if I believe something that isn't true, now I'm being manipulated. Now I'm being led to do things that are unwise, given the actual data. Yeah.
Two questions. Chris, is doubt a virtue? Chris?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. That's
okay. While you think of that, let me ask Aron. Which theory are you actually appealing to say doubt is a virtue? Virtue ethics, consequentialism.
See, there we go.
Which
it's interference.
In order to say doubt's a virtue, you have to appeal to something. What you're appealing to?
We're appealing to common sense.
I appeal to virtue. I go into virtue
fooled.
ethics.
So you tell me what label philosophy scholars put on that, and I'll say, okay, whatever.
A virtue by definition is something you always strive to. You want to always strive to be honorable. You want to always strive to be honest. You always want to strive to be courageous. You don't want to strive for doubt because you don't want to strive for doubt.
Understanding.
You don't want to strive for doubt, then not believe something that is true. Doubt is a tool. It's not a virtue. Doubt is beneficial to be used in certain circumstances, but you don't always want to doubt because you don't want to doubt true positions. So the fact that you don't want to doubt true positions, it cannot be an epistemic virtue.
Why don't I want to doubt true positions? I don't want to be fooled into
because you want to believe things that are true.
Right.
So,
but
so
if you want to be unconvinced, things that are true, all you find out, all you wind up finding out is that they were true.
I'll consider possibilities if you can show me that they're possible. If you'll show me that there is something to consider there.
But if something is true, wouldn't you rather be convinced of it being true than not believe it?
No, I don't want to be convinced. I don't want to shut down something that might be true. I want to be open to that thing being true, but not at the expense of believing things that are not true.
Right, but that's not doubt though. That's what's called open-mindedness. That's what virtue epistemology.
Yeah, I want to be able to verify that my information is accurate.
Sure.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with you, and I think we're on the same page. I think it's just the terminology is a little bit different. I know that doubt is not a virtue in philosophy because the reasons I've given. There's no virtuous epistemic reason to have it as a virtue. You don't strive for doubt. It is a useful tool like anything else, right? I want to doubt things that I meaning not to be convinced of things that are wrong, but I want to be convinced of things that are right. I don't want to doubt true things. And that's what
I think that's great. I think that's great for philosophy, Steve. I think that's great.
I want to understand.
If doubt is not a virtue for philosophy, but for the rest of us in the real world, doubt is a virtue.
Well,
okay,
that's kind of saying, well, it's great for philosophers, but us other people, you're just gonna make up stuff. Right. I don't.
The majority is going to follow it as a virtue.
No, they won't. No, I really disagree with that. Actually,
they do.
Chris, say what
and the rest of you in the real world think that agnostic atheist is a thing. So we don't.
Who does?
Grenade. Wow.
I don't believe in agnostic people. I think that it's. I think they're all atheists.
We don't exist
underneath the skin. Cool.
Yeah, if you're not convinced, if you're not convinced there's a God, you're not convinced, right? You're either convinced or you're not convinced.
Well, I agree with that. We're just changing. All it is different labels. I'm not convinced there's a God, and I'm agnostic because of it. Aron's not convinced he's a God. He calls it atheism. I don't care one way or another. He at least understands the difference. I understand the difference, and that's all that matters.
If I'm not convinced there's a God, that makes me atheist. I can also be agnostic because I understand that I'm agnostic to the degree that we can't actually know the true nature of the supernatural. That makes no statement about whether we believe there is a supernatural.
And
if there was a supernatural, then we couldn't possibly know the true nature of it because it is supernatural. So we would.
And in my case, I don't believe there's a God, but I'm agnostic. I'm not an atheist because of the reasons I.
Okay, so you accept that the way I define knowledge. I mean, knowledge is demonstrable. You with measurable accuracy. You can show what you know. Right. So, I mean, I always hear, and this is the thing that bothers me most about believers, I know that 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 I know there's a God. No, you don't know shit. Right. They just assert themselves. Right. And they tell, well, I have 100% conviction. I know it in my heart, whatever kind of bullshit conviction they want to make up. If you can't show it, you don't know it.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of things.
I honestly disagree with that, but that's not the reason I disagree with that. What you're talking about. Well, what you're talking about is called explicit or explicit knowledge, okay? Explicit or tacit knowledge, which is knowledge that is transportable. Knowledge we can write in a book and copy to something else is explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is knowledge I have that I can convey to somebody because I have an understanding of like how to play guitar. So if I want to show Chris how to play guitar, though he knows how to play, that's tacit knowledge. But when we're talking about epistemology, that's not what it means. Knowledge in epistemology means that you believe something to be true, the proposition is true, and that you're justified to believe that proposition. Under what's called justified belief, which is a very simple version.
If you can't, and this is the way that I summarize it, is if you can't verify the accuracy of your claims to any degree at all, by any means whatsoever, then you cannot honestly say that you know what you really.
I agree with that because in the degree you have to show that the proposition is true. You can't say you know something if the proposition isn't true, right? Now, how you do that, there's many different ways of doing that. So if you're just saying to the degree that if I can't demonstrate that the proposition is true, then I don't know it, then I would fully agree with you because knowledge, as you know, is a subset of belief. I have to believe it. It has to be true. and I have to have a reason. I have to justificatory reason to accept it as knowledge. Under those conditions, then I can say I have knowledge.
Who was the philosopher who said you can't know something and believe it at the same time?
I don't know, but they were wrong.
Forget
Who it
who
was.
Yeah,
Really
yeah,
wrong.
You have to, yeah, you have to
Carrot
believe.
Top, wasn't it?
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top. Yeah,
the greatest philosopher of all time, Carrot Top.
Okay, so let me.
So
I
I
have two
would
things.
like. I just want to express something. I mean, I wish that I had the time to continue school. I mean, I knew this guy who was like who was had a terminal illness and he was going to spend the rest of his life in college, and I actually envied him on the one point that he's just you're going to stay on the learning curve forever. I wish I could be there. And I wish that I could take, philosophy, but I got to be honest at the same time. While I want, and I hate to have the arguments come up when I don't understand them because I'm not schooled in those, and I want to be. At the same time, the only time I've seen philosophy be useful is when it is misused.
Oh, that's just on a
Well,
shirt.
How about this? Let me ask Aaron this. Do you accept in
With
science?
Steve's face on it. With Steve's face on it.
Hang on. You accept methodological naturalism as science, right, Aaron? I mean, I consider you to be a scientific person. You may not technically be a scientist, but you are a layperson scientist for all practical purpose. I would consider you to be what I call a non-experimental scientist because you don't do experiments per se, but you understand science.
I would do experiments. I mean, I used to when
Sure.
I loved being a paleo student at UTD, and where I actually worked in the lab and in the field. I mean, I absolutely loved that. I could have.
So you agree though
that
that science follows natural. But you agree that science follows methodological naturalism, right? It's one of the adherents that. Okay, that's philosophy of science. That's a useful tool of philosophy in science. So in bioethics is philosophy in science.
That I already
there is
that,
useful.
right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. But I'm just saying to the people listening, that is a useful thing for philosophy. Now, I agree with you wholeheartedly. When people like Seitan Bernicate and people like that, they'll take philosophy, and I've had this discussion with Aaron before. They use it as a weapon. I get that. I don't want to use philosophy as a weapon, except obviously there's times where you have a conversation, you have Socratic method, but I'm there to try to explain how things I think they are or what the positions are in philosophy. It's not to beat them over the head with, oh, you have to accept this particular position, right? With Seitan and them, they're using philosophy in a manipulative kind of way, and I'm very much against that. And people have noticed that, and they'll come to me and say, "Hey, Steve, how do you fight against this precept argument, or how do you fight against this philosophy?" I'll show them counters how to do it, right? So there is ways of fighting against that type of use of philosophy. But philosophy is a tool; it's a reason. It's the use of reason is philosophy.
Jason, please stop calling my phone. I'm on a show right now, and I'm obviously not going to stop what I'm doing to pick up the phone. So, for the love of God, stop calling me. Okay, so before we close out, I want to do.
Hey, you know what? You
want to
cover. That nobody was calling you. Now you got somebody calling you, and you don't want to.
I want to cover two things.
Did you hear about
that, Aaron?
You should be. No, I didn't. I was going to say you should be taking calls from your. You should be taking calls from your viewers.
We should. We should do that. You know what? We have phone number for that. Actually,
we are. We're getting there, but we're getting there. I've got two things that I need to do first, and then we're gonna get. We do have questions in the live chat, but the first thing is, Dave, if you'll play that first video, and we're just gonna fly through it really quick. I just want you guys to see Holy Anthony and be kind of ready for tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Katie Couric, and welcome to Eye to Eye.
You just fast forward through most of this, Dave. Just go to the middle part.
6 of America.
By a young man that spent about 3 or 4 weeks putting a bag of shredded material together, and Benny Hinn and his immediate family make about $2.1 million a year. Religious ministries don't like me very much. They call me the Antichrist when they're nice. I've received bribe offers as much as $5 million if I would just disappear. There's a lot of animosity, you might say, towards me. For the last 2 years, we've submitted
I think that's good.
reports on numerous ministries.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm envious. I'm envious of you guys that you are interviewing him on your show. I would so love to have that guy on my podcast. I so admire.
Now you. Well, I mean, you'll be talking to him tomorrow, so you can just tell him to.
But it's still not on my podcast. I don't get the credit of having the guy on my podcast.
No, I'm saying tomorrow during the call, or after the show, just tell him, hey, I do a podcast too. Come on over and do it. I'm sure he's the nicest guy in the world.
Say all the same stuff to me.
Well, your audience is way bigger, so I mean, there'll probably be a lot of people that it'll get out to.
Don't sell yourselves short. You've managed to make a good deal of cred, of internet cred off the train wreck
because we piss people off.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of there's one more interesting thing too. Not only Ole Anthony this week, but the other one that I'm looking forward to, and I've been looking forward to this for weeks now. I was really excited to get this guy, and I'm already getting some flack from people. This is so funny. People are sending me emails saying that I shouldn't have this guy on because he promotes torture, but he doesn't. Okay. Pay attention to what I'm about to tell you guys, all right? This is a haunted attraction, all right? The line to get in here is 24,000 people long. He gets about 500 people a day trying to get into this place. And it's they take 2 people at a time, and it's 8 hours long. Nobody's ever made it the 8 hours. The most anybody's ever made it is 6. These people are signing up for this thrill. It is all simulated. No, nobody's leaving the place bloodied and going to the hospital. Nobody's ever died. So please stop being dramatic with the torture stuff. These people, it's a thrill thing, okay? But I'm going to play a clip right now of what kind of this place entails, and you kind of get a feel for what Thursday is going to be like. But the owner of this is going to be with us and take us through the backstage of McCamey Manor. So
this is the video that I watched. This is the gory one, is it? This is the safe for work one.
No, this is it's on YouTube already. So, go ahead, Dave.
Be prepared if this is the gory one.
And you skip through this too, Dave.
Somebody's head get cut off, are they?
No, I hope not.
Maybe.
It's not looking good so far.
Help me! Yes, please let me out, please! Please, take it! No, I can't breathe! Leave that bitch out of here now!
All right, Dave.
I was like, you know what? I just did that on Saturday. That was like my house party. What the hell?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
There's a woman in her head in a cage full of rubber snakes, and
no, those are real. No,
those are rubber. Me.
Those are live snakes.
Yeah, those are real snakes.
Like rubber snakes to me.
Those are real snakes.
I think there was if you watch the full thing, if you watch the full thing,
I've had so many
you're both
snakes
right.
in my hands.
I love snakes, so I wouldn't be bothered by that.
In my hands, those look like rubber snakes.
Well, you're both right.
Yeah,
see what happens is if you watch the longer clip, what he does is there's rubber snakes in there, but there's 2 really big yellow pythons that are moving around. The other ones I think are just to like simulate more.
The fuck is a python gonna?
Pythons are pretty like pythons. What are they gonna do? Yeah.
If it fits in that cage and it's with her whole fucking head, then it's not a big enough snake to eat her head.
No. I'll tell you this though, Aron. They have hooked up people to car batteries. That is a thing that
we did that in high school under the teacher's direction.
See, this is why I love this band. So please stop with the emails about we are not supporting torture. Learn the difference. These people are signing up for a simulation, and it's fun. It's going to be something different to talk to. So don't over dramatize it. Okay.
I want to see you do a whole video about hooking people up to car batteries now.
Hey,
yeah.
my dad made an electric fence out of a distributor, a car coil.
Yeah, I've done something similar.
On your ass.
Dave, I've done the same thing. What's called a multi-vibrator circuit with a step-up transformer and a voltage multiplier thing with diodes and capacitors. And I'm telling you, you grab onto that motherfucker, it hurts. You get a shock of your life. It's low current, so it's not going to kill you, but it's very high voltage, and yeah, it'll zap the out of you, man.
So Steve McRae obviously did what I did, which was live just a little too long in a small town where there's no better entertainment than accosting.
Dude, I was a Radio Shack store manager for 6 years after that, so it went to good use.
Oh, the irony.
So let's
Yeah, I was
the
actually store
electric
manager
fence?
for Radio Shack, believe it or not. Yeah.
let's pull up these listener, not listener, viewer questions. Steve, can you pull up super chats, or do you want me to read them?
I have them right here. Yeah, by the way,
Okay.
if we're tripping on the multivibrator, yeah, look it up. It's actually a type of circuit. You have astable and bistable multivibrator circuits.
Wait, what did I just say? Tripping on a multi-vibrator?
I heard vibrator.
What did you say?
I heard vibrator.
I heard
You guys hear what you
multi-vibrator.
want to hear, don't you?
Oh,
Yeah, very selective.
I'm glad you said that. Dave, do you still have the slide from the Smoking Nun real quick so that I can share this story with since he said that about the Walmart? Can we put that up real quick? If you have it handy. Okay, let me set the stage for you guys, all right? So every Sunday we do the Smoking Nun and we go through the 5 most ridiculous headlines of the week, all right? Now, on one of these stories, there was this this lady who police were called to Walmart, and she had taken 24 sex toys and was laying in the middle of the aisle trying out these sex toys in Walmart.
Well, you know what? I believe in trying before buying, so I don't think I have an issue with that. You want to make sure what you're getting is, good for you.
Well, I just want to make sure it fits.
Right. It's so funny to read the article though, because the people who are like the newspaper interviewed the onlookers. One of the ladies was like, "Yeah, I just kept watching as she would go to one and then the next one, and I'm saying, yeah, here she is." So, Union City, California, a woman was arrested this morning after stripping almost naked in Walmart stores to test various sex toys in front of dozens of shocked customers.
Wait, what? Wait, I didn't even know Walmart had sex toys. This is news to me.
They don't. She brought them from home.
She brought them from home and
from
tried them in the store.
Yes. Yes.
How much sadder can this get?
He's like,
yes.
What?
Okay,
I mean,
and I don't know who
the
this
girl's
is.
picture. As soon as you showed the girl's picture, I already felt sorry for her. If she's doing all this experimentation with the love toys, obviously what she really wants is love, and she's not getting that. She's getting it. She's investing in electricity and plastic. But and then I'm thinking that she's getting naked in the Walmart because this is the only passionate experience she's going to have, and how sad is that? And then when you told me that she's bringing her own toys from home,
right?
I'm like, oh, how fucking pathetic.
My thing is like if you're looking for love and trying to make a point, Walmart is not the place to do that. Have some class and go to Target at least. Go do this in Target. Like
that's like, dude, that's like bringing a blow up doll to a bar with you.
I'm just saying. I mean,
I gotta tell you, a buddy of mine, one of the guys I used to ride with, had the greatest fucking sense of humor. We lived in this little town that was close to the Mexican border in Arizona, and he rode his chopper up to Tucson, and we were all, like I said, we were all bikers, we were all ride together, and he goes into this sex shop in Tucson and buys an inflatable love doll, but he doesn't put it in the box in his saddlebag, because the whole reason he bought the damn thing was not because he wanted to use it, it's because he wanted to freak the straights. So he bought a love doll in a hand and knees position and strapped her to the passenger seat of his motorcycle to ride home with her.
Yes.
And then, just to make it even worse, on a dare, he stripped down to nothing more than his knee-high motocross boots to ride down the main drag of this little small town, naked except for these boots.
I would so do that if I had a bike, which I wouldn't mind getting. I actually like to ride.
This
hard to believe that I actually like motorcycles, but I do like motorcycles.
You just can't get away with that kind of behavior anymore.
Before you, Steve, you go to super chats.
tiny...
This just in from Jason. Okay, here's a text message. No, I will take your text messages, Jason. You're a bitch. In a debate with A versus B. In a debate with A versus B, you see your way out. Are we going back to 1990? This is a debate between A, B, and you should see your way out of it. Actually, if he was saying it would be this is.
You know what I really feel sorry for Jason about? If he was really looking, and it seemed to be, because I'd seen some preface to this. I mean, it looked like he was looking forward to this. So you have your moment on stage before the audience, and you waltz out there in your tutu and promptly throw up on stage.
Yep.
That's what tonight was.
Right.
It was verbal
exactly.
diarrhea.
But
there was nothing that
says
he
constant.
said that was cogent.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Constant interruptions with no time to respond.
What?
Plus, my argument to nuance didn't play well with stupid people. It was supposed to be me versus Aron. It never got there. You were supposed to deliver a show. You failed. Now, how many times did I say this is a debate between you and Aron? Stop asking Steve and I questions. Like that's literally what I said.
How many times did I say? How many times did I say no? Please continue.
Jason,
did he not pay attention to what's going on?
Jason, you don't even know what universe you're in, man. Like, do yourself a favor and just go to bed. Like, the best thing you can do right now is to pass the fuck out. All right.
All right.
Because this is not going to go well for
you.
you.
A quick summary.
Keep texting
Let me do
Kyle.
a quick
Keep
summary
texting
of tonight's debate. Okay, this is a quick summary of tonight's debate. This is Jason's position. I lose.
No. I beg to differ. Jason's position was the blow-up doll on the biker thing. That's what his position was right now.
His position was the dildo in Walmart. All right.
Oh, God.
Let's go to super chat.
I'm afraid the dildo in Walmart.
You know what's funny? And Kyle and I have talked about this before. We'll go back and we read as many chats, the comments as we can. And there's a shit ton more than ever before, obviously, because of the amount of videos we have. But we try to read every comment. And I got to tell you, we get these comments every so often where we look at each other basically and we say, did this person actually watch the same discussion that we just watched? It's so out there in left field that we really don't think they even watched the same video that they're responding to. Is that not correct, Kyle?
He's a human kazoo. That's what I'm going to say. He's a human kazoo.
I want to brag for a moment.
Oh, yes.
He's bringing up the good stuff. You know, it's funny.
Where they can get that.
That's awesome.
Tell people where they can get that, Aron.
It's still available.
Godless heathen.
They can't get it. This is a private brewer. It's a limited edition. But I just wanted you guys to read the label.
It's kind of,
says, if you couldn't see it, black as your heart, imperial stout, brewed by amoral perverts from the tears of the innocent.
That should be in stores everywhere, Aron. Get that to the masses.
Somebody actually tweeted me during the show, because I monitor the tweets and everything else. Somebody actually tweeted me, one of the things Aron should do from now on is tell people what he's drinking before he goes on, and I think that he did this time. But they were fascinated by your choice of drink, so
he usually
a hot
does.
Topic. Yeah,
I got some good. I had to buy them. I didn't have to buy it. I already had, but I have a mini fridge because we have so much craft beer that we couldn't fit food in the refrigerator, so we had to get out the mini fridge to put all the extra.
That's never a problem.
But I've got some really good stuff in there. I've got this one a rum ale, or excuse me, not rum ale. It's a pumpkin ale, and I know some people maybe react to that, but you got to try this one. It's a 16.2 ABV, and everybody thinks that it's misnamed, that it should be called Goddamn, because that's the reaction that I get from everybody I give one to. The problem is it's just a 12-ounce bottle, but it costs $14 a bottle.
God damn.
Yeah, goddamn.
That's some good freaking beer at $14 a pop.
That's the first goddamn. The second goddamn is when you take your first swig of it and you're like, goddamn.
I had we got to get the super chats, but I had a triple IPA a couple months ago. A triple IPA, 13%. God damn. Yeah, it was potent. Yeah. All right, let's get to these. A couple real quick, some shout outs. I want to give a shout out to my friend Cinecist in the live chat. Cinecist runs a gaming channel, and nobody kind of here knows of him, but I want to put a shout out for him coming over and listening. Thank you, Cinecist. I hang out with him when I don't want to deal with your guys' shit. So, okay, let's get the super chats. Jay Kershaw, $5. Steve McCrae is the Pope of Agnosticism, and I swear my allegiance to him. Kiss the ring, baby. Kiss the ring. Wait, I got to get a ring first, but
oh god,
I think it's hilarious.
No grovel.
A Sandring, $20. Well, thank you, a Sandring.
Yes, thank
if
you.
Aron is sticking around for a few after the show, I still want to say hi. I don't know if he is. I don't know. I'm happy to do an after show or even on this channel or my channel. I don't care, but I don't know what Aron's plans is tonight.
You better bring him on quick because I've got a bunch of other shit I got to dive into.
Yeah.
Dave, can you just, you know what? Instead of doing that, can you just give a Sandring a link maybe? And come in.
We'll switch, Chris. We'll switch you into Sandring out. if you don't mind, so that the
Nice
server
to meet
can
you,
say hey
Chris.
to.
Yeah, nice to meet you. We need to do some sometime because every episode I do on my channel, me and my co-host, we always start it by telling everyone what we're drinking.
What are you drinking
Usually
tonight?
I'm
vodka
down
for
with
me.
that.
For
down
me,
with that.
for me,
I
it
like
is
to show off.
straight vodka.
Yeah.
He don't fuck around, man.
I
He was
bought a
drinking straight
bottle
gin
of,
the other day. Who does that?
Oh,
Who
yeah.
drinks straight gin.
I bought a bottle
I can't
of
even
Captain
taste it
Mo.
anymore.
I bought a
Where?
bottle of Captain Mo 1607, and I drank the bottle myself.
That's
You're a
impressive.
better man
So
than I do.
smooth.
Yeah, you're better than I. All right, vegan atheist.
Okay,
$2. A virtual hug to you all. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. We'll give you virtual hugs too.
We needed it
we'll
tonight.
give you a
We
virtual
needed it
kiss.
tonight.
Yeah, we'll give you a
Actually,
virtual
do you
kiss,
have,
but you know what,
do you
that
have
could take
virtual
a long
Xanax?
way.
Do you have virtual Xanax?
Exactly.
Oh wait, that reminds me. Didn't you say that your friend that James or Jason wasn't he gonna like Muhammad Handjob or somebody like that? What was it? There was some guy he was gonna.
Yeah, it was a Muslim, Muhammad. I can't think of his name. He's an apologist. He's a Muslim apologist. Muhammad something.
Okay, well, I'm down for that too because people always want to complain. How come you always pick on the Christians? You don't have balls enough to face a Muslim. Yeah, I literally do. Face them head on. But go ahead and bring me one.
Okay, awesome.
I don't know much
I would like
about
to see
the
that
Quran,
actually
that's
too.
why I'm doing that. Yeah, I would
I'm
love
sorry?
to
There
listen
he
to
is.
that. I'm fascinated by it. But, all right. Hey, Sandra. All right, so let me get through these real quick. Jake Kershaw, $2. Zzz. I think he's snoring, sleeping. That was not boring, guys. That was actually awesome. I enjoyed that.
He was
thoroughly.
talking about Jason. This is when Jason was doing his bloviating at the beginning. Yeah.
Kent Hovind CPA, $2. And by the way, Aaron, if you don't know, this is obviously a fake account, but I love him because if we have a good video, Kent Hovind CPA gives us $1, but if he really likes it, he gives us $2.
Yeah.
So, Kent Hovind CPA. Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Let me say something real quick. Steve, Lysandrian, we're getting a little bit of feed, I think, from the truck. It sounds like a radio or channels. Do you hear that, Steve?
Yeah.
There's no radio running.
No,
It could be alien psychic transmissions.
Alien psychic transmissions. Yes. That makes sense. By the way, this is Sandring. He's a huge supporter of the show, and he's wanted to meet you. So here you are, Sandring, Aron Ra, the man himself.
How do you do?
Hello. I wanted to say hi for quite a long time.
Well, thank you. You a truck driver?
I am.
Okay.
Yep. I
Good
drive
job.
all over the country.
Over the road?
I keep trying to get down to your area when you're speaking, but I never seem to.
I don't ever.
We're always
speak-
afraid he's
I
going to
don't
like get
ever
an
speak in
accident
my
listening
area.
to us. Sandra listens to us as he drives, and I'm afraid there's going to be like road rage at some point. You know?
Yeah, I shouldn't do that. That should be illegal.
Yeah.
It's
If you want to
dangerous.
catch me in Texas, you're better off doing it in Austin rather than the town that I live in, because I almost never speak in the town that I live in.
Austin's
I try to get
kicking
down.
with.
Trying to get down.
I want to go to
Yeah.
Austin. I might be in the area at some point. A friend of mine wants to go visit some places in Texas to go find a couple of younger creationist PhDs and go after them and wanted me to be a videographer.
And if not that, 6th Street.
Oh, you got is like preachers or something?
6th Street rolls up and smokes Beale Street and Bourbon Street.
Oh, I'm down for that.
6th Street is so much nicer.
Bourbon
Yeah.
Street from I'm New Orleans, right? That kind of stuff.
Exactly. And Beale Street of Memphis.
Okay. I would totally be down
6th Street
for
is
that.
better. And I just remember my
Awesome.
my favorite impression of this was, I brought this girl and a friend of mine from Nottingham, England, and it was the police block off a few blocks worth of 6th Street because it's all bars, and so you just end up with 10,000 drunken college kids. And it's always relatively always warm, and this was in the month of May, so it was very warm. So everybody's barely dressed, and everybody's completely intoxicated. So, like the girl we were hanging with, she's like, "Oh my God, it's like a river of fuck."
That's a brilliant way of describing
Nice.
half our shows. Yeah.
And my
I love
English
that.
friend was beautiful. He says, "Oh, this is brilliant. We don't have anything like this back home."
That's awesome.
The British.
Yeah, I
want to
bet
know
you
how
don't
to
have
handle
anything
it.
like 6th Street anywhere in England. Gotcha.
I'll have to check it out if I get down there. All right. So Ken Hovind CPA says God is real and his name is Patrick Mahomes. Nicholas Brand, $2. What a shame! I already ate word salad today. David Dallafor, by the way, I hope David you're doing okay. $2. Drink. Everybody else is. I'm out. I'm going off more after this.
I think I know that one.
Yeah, he knows.
I
He knows
wish
how
I
to
could
do that.
drink.
Yeah.
You definitely shouldn't, Miss Andring. You definitely shouldn't.
Not when you're driving.
No.
Somebody
Well,
had
I'm
asked
not
me
driving
today
right now.
how. Well, you're parked, but are you done for the night?
Yes, I'm done for the night.
Okay.
I
Then you feel
specifically
free.
got done early so I could watch this.
But somebody had asked me, Steve, how do you deal with these people half the time? And I said, well, I take the Aron Ra approach to methodological engagement with these people. I just drink a lot of alcohol. It does work. I actually posted on my Facebook page.
Sandring, what did you think about tonight? Since you actually scheduled so that you would be done in time to watch. How do you what's your takeaway from this evening? Am I a punk ass bitch? Is what I'm asking.
No. I mean, you shouldn't even have to ask me that one. But
yeah, Kyle was just trying to shut him down left and right after going, hey, go ahead, take it. Go ahead. Yeah, we're waiting. Go ahead. You got
no,
10
it was
minutes.
it was sad. When you watch them, and he had to have been intoxicated. All the dramatic pauses, he couldn't seem to string sentences together or any kind of coherent thought together. It's like I have no idea what he was talking about. And sit down and I just watch this slow rolling train wreck that's just like, it's like, I'm not all that great, and I don't know very much about things like taxonomy or evolutionary theory or anything like that. And even I think that I could have done a better job about whether the Earth was created or not.
The nun on the screen was.
Yeah, he was very obviously stoned or drunk, right? I mean, he said all he had to drink tonight was water. If I were to take him at his word, I'd have to wonder what collection of pills he mixed together for this evening.
Fire water.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
There's something wrong, definitely. There's no question about that. Yeah.
And I've talked to him. It's not the same person. Like the guy I talked to was, before was alert. There was none of that, like that slow, like droggy, like he's in slow motion type. I mean, I don't know. I guess he just got nervous and drank a little bit too much. It happens. I mean, I've done that. I've been that way with stand-up comedy. I've done that before, where you get so nervous beforehand, you drink before you go on stage, and next thing you know, you don't remember going up and doing your set. And
Really?
it's about as oh yeah. Absolutely.
I have not yet done stand-up comedy. I've done a couple of stand-up routines in preparation for doing live club stand-up comedy. But the thing I was looking forward to was earlier this year, there was supposed to be the GAC, the Global Atheist Convention, was supposed to be in Melbourne, Australia during Darwin Day weekend. And I was invited to speak. I was told that I would have an hour on stage alone in front of an audience of 5,000. And I did a complete stand-up routine that would have sold beautifully for an Australian audience, and it was all stand-up comedy. That would have been, and I knew the shit would play. I knew it would work for that audience because I don't know if audiences beneath a certain number is extremely risky. You're going to bomb if you've got 60 people or less. You're going to bomb, but an audience of 5,000.
Yep, you'll kill.
And you've got the material that will work for that audience. And I did. I had a whole routine, 45-minute routine for that audience, and they canceled the show. And it would have been the very first time I'd ever done comedy, and I'm absolutely confident it really would have worked.
Oh, it's a high like no other, man. Like the first time I was 17, the first time I went and did a comedy club, and it's just like you never. And I ate it like I was horrible. It was the worst thing ever. And what I'm doing now is I'm taking a lot of my old routines where I didn't do so hot, and I'm uploading them to the channel. So like every certain amount of weekends, I'll put that up, and so people can see like how really either bad I did, or in some cases, I did okay. But there were many times that I, like in Ohio, I played the Funny Bone in Dayton, Ohio one time, and I was middling. So this is the first time I was ever middling, and I was just so nervous. I was nerve-wracked all day long. And when you get to these clubs, they give you a bar tab, as part of your arrangement with the club. And I just kept being like, okay, my nerves aren't calm enough. I need another one. And I woke up the next morning in the middle of the hotel living room. They give a suite where you're staying with the other comedians. There was a trash can beside of me. So as soon as I woke up, I knew exactly what that meant. But the second thought that I had was, oh shit, I don't remember going on stage. And I didn't.
Yeah, I wish that I had something to do with the organization of when they did ApostaCon here in Dallas, because there was nobody contacting me about their arrangements for talent or anything. There was an 11-year-old comedian who lives here in Dallas, who is an atheist, an 11-year-old atheist comedian. Think about how cool that would have been. I watched all of her atheist comedy, and I'm like, she lives here in town. She will cost us nothing, right? But at that time, at that event, they had Penn and Teller as the headliner. Can you imagine booking an 11-year-old girl to open for Penn and Teller? But she did really, really good atheist content, and it's especially alarming when it comes from such a little girl.
I've heard young comedians, and they're freaking hilarious, to be honest with you. They're first of all, I shouldn't know half the shit they're talking about, but the fact that they're able to put it in a comedic form is just a riot.
Yeah, I've met this girl a couple of times because she's an activist. And this is another reason that I wanted to promote her. It wasn't just that she was a stand-up comedian. I mean, I met her at one of the comedy clubs when she was doing her show. And then we also ran into her at one of the activist marches, where I just suddenly realized as a person I'm marching next to it is, hey, you're Saffron Herndon. So anyway, I just thought that would have been great. I wish I could have promoted her, and now that was 2-3 years ago. So now she's going to be a teenager, and it won't have kind of the same appeal.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's even better, but it's disarming when there's somebody so young and the humor is so knife edge cutting. It's like,
I know who you're referring to. I've listened to her before. If it's the same person I'm thinking of. Very cutting.
Almost certainly has to be. Yeah. She tells this one joke that every time I meet someone online, they get arrested.
I like that. That's good. That's good.
Oh crap! Does that mean I'm going to get arrested now?
Yes. They're actually outside of your truck now.
It's just the kind of joke.
I can see outside of my truck. There's nothing out here.
It's just the kind of joke you would not expect an 11-year-old kid to come up with.
Right? Yeah.
It's the same one because I've heard her say that joke.
You should get back into.
What's funny is my daughter's.
You should give the comedy another go, Aaron. I think you'd be good at it.
Thank you. I would like to. I mean, I've done a couple of presentations where I've gotten a decent amount of laughs, but when they offered me the GAC, and in Australia of all places, there was a routine that I already had in my head that I already knew this will fucking work for this group, because there's a lot of comedians will do the black versus white comparisons, or the men versus women, or the dog versus cats comparison. Those are common comedy tropes. But I was going to do for Australia the death penalty and gun control thing versus Australia, and I had a lot of really funny shit to say on that, and I'm really upset that I didn't get that opportunity, because that absolutely would have worked.
Resurrect it, make it happen.
It's got to be for that particular audience. It's not something I can do when I'm talking to 60 people in Oklahoma. It had to be 5,000 people in Australia.
Never do stand-up comedy as an atheist in Oklahoma. That's got a train wreck written all over it.
But
all right, we gotta get back to the super chat. We gotta get the super chat up. I gotta tell you on that. My favorite thing is I do like making women laugh, but the best way I found to do that is just to have sex with them. So it works. Yeah. All right, Dave Dallaford.
That cricket sound effects that we have on Sick, please.
I got one laugh.
Yeah,
one laugh.
I was at a presentation by Jim Helton recently when he was talking about doing a sex ed for high school kids, and he says one of the first things you need to teach them is prepare for a disappointment.
Did you say Von Helton?
Low expectations.
Did he say Von Helton?
No, Jim Helton.
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Do you know who Von Helton is?
No, I don't.
Oh God, he doesn't know who.
What?
Oh man,
Wait, no.
How do you not know?
Get the fuck out
How
of
do you
here.
not know
Are
who
you
Von
serious?
Helton is?
Are you really?
That
Are you
can't be
bullshitting us,
real.
Aaron? Oh, we have to talk.
I'm not
dude.
that.
We have got to talk.
I'm not that well versed in Nazi history.
You're
I don't
not
know.
woke
What the
enough,
hell?
then. You're not
Oh
woke.
my God, I can't believe. By the end of the show,
Yeah,
we'll
let me
show you.
Yeah, but let me just give it like a 10-second synopsis of Von Helton. If you've done something, Von Helton's done it better. He invented the stealth bomber. He's a space marine. He is a vampire. He's 300 years old. You name it, Von Helton has not only accomplished it but mastered it. Von Helton is his name. Yeah.
Von Helton.
There's actually a meme of him. This is actually no joke. This is the truth. There's a meme called Karate Kyle, where it's kind of like, they made fun of my glasses. I ripped their head off or something. Right?
Von Helton adopted that name.
He is Von
Helton.
Helton. That is Von Helton, literally.
And his original birth name was Lipschitz.
I don't know what his actual name is.
Okay, I got that.
Lipschitz. I don't know. Is he a character reference or something?
All right,
but Karate Kyle is Von Helton.
But
yeah. Okay,
but let's continue on with the super chats. Yeah.
Can I say
Dave
goodbye real quick?
Dallacourt, another $2. Yeah. Okay, Sandra, you taking off? Thank you, buddy.
I've got a broken arm, and it's hard for me to hold my phone up so you can actually see me.
Oh, damn!
I just
sorry.
Hold on. Before you run off, make up a great story for what.
Sure.
Make up a great story for why you were.
I wish I could. It's because it's a really stupid reason. I literally fell backwards out of the cab of the truck.
I broke both of my arms in high school at the same time playing basketball. But I was being enormously stupid. Yeah, I jumped from the stands to grab the bar behind the backboard and swung up to punch the basketball out of the basket because it got stuck there. And then I did the swing and did a somersault and didn't land on my feet. I landed on my arms.
Ow.
Ouch.
Ow. Ow.
Yeah, no, don't want to hear about that.
My arms broke
Pain.
my fall, but my fall broke my arms.
Were you like this?
Yeah.
For like a scarecrow? For
I looked like Popeye because I had a cast on each arm.
So you broke your forearms?
Yeah, so I had to make up an excuse, right? So I show up in 2 slings, 2 casts, right? What am I supposed to tell people? That I was playing basketball? Nobody's going to understand that. I need too much backstory. No. So the easier explanation was her father came home early.
There you go. That works.
That's good.
That works.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right,
my arms
thanks
are super tired.
Thanks for popping
So
in.
I just wanted to say thanks for having me on. There's several things, especially like politics, that I don't agree with you on, but I have an enormous amount of respect because everything is completely evidence based. I love all of your work in the biology field. Very, very knowledgeable. Thanks. I would like to keep watching your videos, and I'm going to go ahead and
let me say that I appreciate that and thank you that when you, because this is something that we need more in this country. Okay, if we disagree on something, that might even be something we can negotiate on. That might be something if we had a chance to talk, we might be able to see eye on eye. But regardless whether we can or not, for you to say that you disagree with me on this, but you accept that you agree with me on that, that's something I have seen very little of in the last few years. It's like people will love everything that one person does until they find the one thing that they just, and then once they find one thing they disagree on, they just dismiss all the value of that person from that point on. And
I can't do that because I find a lot of value in what you do. I find a lot of entertainment in what you do. You had your political run there, and you had made some political videos, which I did watch, and I was trying to see your side of it. And there were several things that I was just like, I can't get behind you on that. But I love what you do, otherwise. And I still watch. I'm still subscribed. And, I don't think
I appreciate that very much. If you ever want to discuss that, I'm completely open to it. But what's a bigger deal to me is that I've been advocating for a long time that I don't agree with Penn Jillette. about very much at all. But there's a little bit that we do agree on, and so I see him as an ally for the common goals that we have. Now, he may not share the same opinion of me because I'm not libertarian, but that's not the point. I mean, I'm more the building bridges type. Where do we agree? Where can we achieve what we both want?
Sure.
Yep.
And
Aaron and I wouldn't have a relationship together if we agreed on everything. It makes it boring. We definitely have things we disagree on, but I think there's a mutual respect. I love what he does for what he does. I have the most greatest admiration for Aaron. We don't have to agree on everything because that would be boring as fuck, to be honest with you. I'd get no enjoyment out of that.
There's nobody that I like everything about. That's the thing. Like, you know,
I would love
to like everything about me.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of things I don't like about.
Go rest your arm, Sandring. Yeah. Thank you for coming in.
But thanks very much.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, let's get the super chats knocked out. We got quite a few to go through here. I'm going to try to do as fast as possible because we are running out of time. Speed read them. All right, speed read. Dave Dallafor, $2. Here's to going nowhere. Mark Beeser, $2. This guy's low quality, boring derp. I'm out. Oh, come on, Mark. This is one of my favorite streams. I got to tell you, it went nowhere, but I loved it. Dave Dallafor, $2. Aaron, please interrupt him 288 times. They counted the last time with
yeah. Where were you on that, Aaron? All right.
Entropic Momentum, $10. Give Jason a chance to explain it. We did. He does have one. He does have one. If you've seen his content, if he does have an argument, I have no idea what his argument is, except that he was trying to relate something about Aristotelian four causes, and I don't think he was doing a very good job of it, and it just was all over the place.
Well, if you don't understand what his, don't understand what his argument, if you don't understand what his argument is, take heart because he doesn't understand what his argument is either.
Right. I don't think so. I don't think he did either.
Words.
I will try. I will try, dude.
Words.
I will try to help somebody out, and I will try to be as charitable as possible. There was just no way I could get anything of any kind of inference for what the hell he was saying, Aaron. There was nothing to be had. I tried. Yeah. Klaus, $5.
Regardless what he says about only having a glass of water, he was very clearly compromised.
Yeah. And did I not before we even went on stream? Did I not try to have a conversation with him where I said, kind of relax a little bit? You're getting kind of keyed up. Let's.
You did. You invited him onto the show. You were a very courteous host. All three of us gave him every provision, and then he was a dick. And this is the sad thing. He was a dick because he was projecting for his own failures so that he didn't have to admit it. And that's the sad thing. But that's the thing he's going to have to hopefully realize eventually later.
I don't, doing YouTube, I've lost most of my faith in humanity, so I don't put any stock in.
I'm a political activist. I've lost faith in humanity.
Yeah, he's already done at that point. Yeah. All right, Klaus Schumer, $5. Hi, Aaron. Check out that other dude's lisps. I don't know what that means. Jake, but thank you, Klaus, by the way.
The word is
Jake
lips,
Kearsarge.
Steve. Lips.
Oh, lips. Oh, you know what? I can't read with a damn right now. Check out that other dude's lips. Why are you telling Aaron to check out some dude's lips? I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not judging and everything. Maybe he has some nice set of lips, but whatever.
Maybe.
You showed me the guy who was saying, listen, and then and some woman throws down the wall of his office to yell how he's lying. You remember Mr. Blue Eyes?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, the lips. Yeah, I get it now.
Gotcha.
I'd like to see you do an interview with that guy.
You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this, but I did send him an email.
Okay, and let's see.
We go for a lot of weird things
again.
But real quick, Aaron, I have somebody coming in December that defies all belief. Actually, there's two coming, and thank you, Iso, for there's a gentleman named Our Founding Liars who will be on in 2 weeks. This is the guy who put out the video that claims that Autumn is a hoax. The season of Autumn is not Autumn. The season is a hoax. Autumn. It is not real. Okay.
I don't have time for people like that.
No, but even better than that though. Even better than that though. There's a gentleman coming in December that will swear to you on everything that Santa Claus is still real. So for Christmas, I have the group of people who still believe in Santa Claus that will be
and
coming
that
to
was
tell
a
us
bet.
why.
That was a bet that Kyle actually lost to Mr. Atheist,
Yeah.
I believe it was. Wasn't
I
it?
did lose that.
So
I said it's not possible.
My
I
best
said
friend in high school. My best friend in high school, before he became an evangelical minister and started doing apologetics for Christianity, his first apologetics was to tell everybody that he is Superman. He had a Superman. He worked out. He had a Superman costume. He had the curl in his hair, all of that. He looked like Superman, but he had the apologetics going for all the reasons why he didn't have to present any evidence at all.
I kind of like that.
I thought it was amusing as hell until I realized that
I like
it was
that.
the same thing it was the same routine he was doing as an apologetic minister.
Mm-hmm. Just a
And
different
suddenly I
grounding
realized,
for it,
well,
sure.
that's-
Yeah, but it's so much
it
cooler
wasn't really
though.
all
You
that
know,
clever.
it's kind of like Ocean, who is a polytheist. Like you would think that if like regular theists we don't get along with, a polytheist would be even worse because they believe in more.
Polytheist.
What is it?
Poly.
Okay.
Well,
But,
actually, what's
but
funny is
like-
Aaron actually knows Ocean, but he actually blocked him, and Ocean kind of requested Aaron maybe kind of like rescind that.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Who's
Aaron hasn't
Ocean?
blocked on Twitter. Ocean Keltoy.
He's a pagan.
He's a pig. Ocean is actually the admin of my Discord on the Great Community. He's actually a really great guy. He's been on not Talk Heathen, but Truth Wanted with Objectively Dan, and he's one of the most respected theists out there because he's very intelligent. He's very articulate. But he's a polytheist. I get along with him fantastic, but for some reason you and him did not hit it off on Twitter. It was bad.
Actually,
I've
no, that's not true though, Arn. Before you even go there
What
though,
happened, Kyle?
I remember this in the G-Man conversation that we had after the Aron Ra debate. Ocean was in there, and I remember Ocean and Aron talking about that. They had a conversation about each other blocking, and they squashed that. So they're on good terms now. I distinctly remember that.
Did he unblock him? Because I as of recently I didn't know
I'm on
that.
good terms with the person I've never heard of.
Well, to be fair though, Arn, you didn't remember meeting G-Man either.
True.
And if you can forget G-Man,
but do you blame him for that one?
you can forget anybody. If you can forget G-Man, you
and
can forget anybody.
I remember Nephilim Free making this post to me where the reason that no one has heard of me in the last 7 years was because I lost a debate to him so badly. I'm like, when the fuck did I ever debate Nephilim?
Dude,
Nephilim
actually,
Free.
Nephilim Free actually had a video. It was brilliant because, as you know, I actually am friends with Dr. Hugh Ross, right? And he has a video out there of this.
Are you really?
Of fake. I am friends with Hugh. Yeah. I get along with Hugh. But here's the thing.
There's somebody I'd love to debate.
We can make that happen. He would be happy.
Yeah.
Hugh is. You know what? We'll talk about that because I actually like Hugh. Hugh has been very good to me. But here's the thing. I don't agree with him, obviously. But here's the thing. Nephilim Free actually has a video of this weird hypothetical fictitious argument that he debated Hugh in his mind. And he's like, here's how I debate Hugh Ross. And he goes through this long litany of how he would actually do it.
Did
in this
he
most
debate
bizarre
Hugh in his mind? Did he debate Hugh in
Yes.
his mind the same way that I slept with Jennifer Connelly in mine?
Well, that probably had a lot more productive
Channing
value
Tatum
to
in
it,
mind.
probably in some ways. Yeah, at least that had utility. What this guy Nephilim was saying was complete bullshit. His understanding of the Big Bang. I swear to you, this was his crux of his argument. The Big Bang never happened because black holes don't explode.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. Let it
beautiful.
sink in. Just let it sink in.
And Hugh Ross was on here with who did he talk to? Philip. Dr. Felipe Goisevich.
Philip Goyenschel.
Which was really good. So while we're stopped right now and we're talking about G-Man and Nephilim Free, Dave, will you please put up Von Helton so that Aaron can get a taste of?
How does he not know Von Helton?
He has to. Like, I think he'll recognize him when he sees him.
But that's what the trolls and haters will do. They'll nitpick. All right. Nitpicking, I guess, is okay if that's what you want to do, but the simple truth of the matter is that I've been consistently wrong about 90% of the time, 90 to 95% of the time. I don't get all the facts right. That's true. But the core of what I say is almost always true. And like I said, about 90%, 95%, somewhere around there, which is pretty damn good.
Okay, Dave. Now, Aron, I want you to point out that he's sitting there in that gaming chair. That's not a robe. That is a warlock's cape, and he has the what is it? The pentagram, like little locket thing on there.
Yeah,
he's a pagan. He's a pagan too.
He's also a vampire.
I was a pagan once.
But he's a pagan that's only wrong about 90 to 95% of the time. So.
Oh, hey, puppy. He has a rational wiki that's just unreal. It's hilarious.
Well, again, he invented the stealth bomber. So.
Yeah, he invented the stealth bomber.
Hey, puppy. Okay.
Let's get through this real quick.
Steve.
We're going to burn through these. All right, let's do it. Jake Kershaw, $2. Steve, keep him going. This is funny as fuck. I agree with you. This was hilarious. Mr. Cook Jr., $2. Especially you, Kyle Hart. Dave Dallafor, another $2. Parsimony, alimony, burp. Sandring, $20. Thank you again, Sandring. I believe this guy is intoxicated or something. He's very incoherent. We're going to agree with you on that one. No contest on that one. AC Castillo, $2. We're at 30 minutes and JK has not made an argument. We were at 90 minutes and he didn't make an argument. So yeah, it never happened. Mr. Cook Jr., $2.
Resume that I
not making an argument.
No.
That I debated some anonymous internet nobody who never said anything.
You debated
I don't know if we're gonna give you
Budweiser, a 40-ounce Budweiser.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna give you this one, dude. This might be just one of those gimme things. Mr. Cook Jr.'s $2. Someone call Inspiring Philosophy, please. I think we might have him back on here soon. Nicholas Brand, $2. He stepped to God, quote unquote, Aron, or parentheses, and his mind is scrambled. Yeah, I think what happened, he may have intimidated to the point, Aron, that he was just so in awe that he couldn't formulate a coherent thought, or he was shit-faced. So
that happened a lot in the Bible too. Didn't they say that like the people could not they couldn't see the face of God or something? They trembled in his presence. So I mean,
except for the 70 people, except for the 70 people that the Bible says actually did see God face to face.
Are you saying there's a contradiction to the Bible? There's no way. Get out of here.
Stop that crazy talk. Dave Dallafor, $2. This is a DUI PSA. A Sandring, another $20. Thank you. And he's rude. He's like, hey, and he's rude. Hey, Aron.
Dallafor gave me a lot of useful information on my current quarry, as it were. And I'm gonna, he gave me a lot of video footage. That I'm gonna be. He gave me a
Dave
lot of video
Dallafor does his research. Yeah, Dave Dallafor does his due diligence.
He's given me a number of resources in video of things that I would have never seen Hovind say if Dallafor hadn't shown
Dave.
It. And my favorite bit is Hovind admitting that he runs this ministry so that he doesn't have to have a real job.
I think I've heard him say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's not even surprising to me. I think that's a lot of motivation for why people in that that field do what they do. I think that's I mean, to me, it's more work. To me, it'd be more work keeping up all of that lying, because he obviously knows what he says is demonstrably false. So he has to actively wake up and lie constantly, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute.
Bullshit.
There's people who don't have a problem with that. And I don't want to mention anyone whose name begins with T and whose name rhymes with rump, but there are people who lie so carelessly and so casually that they don't even realize that they're not supposed to lie, who actually brag about lying and brag about what a good liar they are.
I stand corrected. That's correct.
One thing they do well.
I'm not specifically referencing a guy whose name begins with T and whose name rhymes with rump. But we do have somebody that does brag about what a great liar he is, who fits those criteria.
Well, I mean,
Riley S says Terrence Rump. Is it Terrence Rump?
Aaron, with all due respect, he is a good liar. He that is one thing he does exceptionally well. Give him some props for it.
He
does
does
it
it
really
well,
poorly, but
maybe. I don't know how he manages to convince.
I don't even know if he does it
I don't
well
know
anymore. He's actually doesn't even do it well. Yeah, he
He
touches the
just
line
does it a
too.
lot. Yeah, it's
This is the show.
quantity over quality.
Yeah, that's true. This is the guys. This is the stream. Like we appreciate your super chats, but they just keep coming in.
We got to get through these.
And
Can I just burn through them
yeah,
real
you
quick
have,
because
you
I got to
have to
get
give us a.
Okay,
We love you
I
guys
can't
though.
see the
Just-
super chat, so I'm gonna Kyle, Steve, run through them as quick as you can.
All right, let's do it. All right, here we go. Klaus again, $2. Thank you. Don't waste your beer, Aaron. This was not a waste. I think Aaron enjoyed this, hopefully. Sandring, $5. P.S. The nun is kind of creepy, but cool, but creepy. I agree with you. It's creepy, but it's cool. Fractured, $3. Kyle, good prank. Now bring on the real guest. This was not an April Fool's thing.
Listen, you're not the only one that feels like they're getting pranked right now. I promise you.
Yeah, Milwaukee Atheist. Hey, buddy, $2. Aaron needs more Captain Morgan Cannon Blast. Dude, that sounds pretty good, actually.
Gosh, I
Let's do
wonder
that.
what individual that could be. Could it be an adopted son of mine? I think.
Yeah, you know what? There's a family resemblance there, by the way. There really is. It's almost scary.
Yeah.
Between you guys. Gerhard, 10 pounds. I'm afraid Jason is just generally confused about anything due to his age. Hey, he's about probably the same age as me. We're not that confused. I ran into a guy like this before. This one had been a very respected guy for decades, but lost his mind tragically. No, I just think he was inebriated or something. Klaus, $5 more.
I wish that somebody would share this with Jason. That I had no objection to him. Kyle, I know, had no objection, or we wouldn't have scheduled all of this. He wouldn't have invited him. The three of us together wouldn't have asked him to continue talking, to express his point. The man came here not just unprepared, he came here impaired.
Right.
And that's the only problem.
And we gave,
we don't want a
we
little
gave
bit
him
of
every
impairment,
opportunity to fix that, you know, or to at least, you know,
it was too late.
He could
what did he do?
Yeah, that's true. But he could have said, when I asked him, have you had anything to drink? He could have said, yeah, I had a little bit beforehand, and I would have said, okay, let's reschedule.
Maybe he was being honest. He hasn't had anything to drink. He ate a bucket of muffins.
What kind of is muffin a euphemism for something? Because the muffins
like
that
Colorado muffins.
Oh, yeah. Well, even you know, even then, like I would be understanding in that sense, and because like I said, it's happened to me with the comedy. I would have just said, okay, you got a little nervous. Let's talk about rescheduling it, but we're gonna stop right here. But he continued to try to press on.
No More. There was a band called Faith No More. And after they did the Epic album, that was when I was introduced to them. I thought, oh, I love this band. These guys are great. And then they did their first live performance in a huge venue that was nationally televised. And the lead singer, who I loved, was totally fucked up. The guy could not perform at all. He just walked out over the stage and fell down. And it was a disaster. And you know
that's happened. That happened with a recently with a comedy or a country band. Toby Keith. They say Toby Keith now you can't go to many of his concerts because he gets so drunk towards the end of his routines that he forgets the words of his own song.
I've heard that about the best country singers.
Yeah,
Loretta Lynn was that was said about her.
I love Loretta Lynn, and Johnny Cash. I love Johnny Cash too.
I love Loretta Lynn's sister.
Who is that?
You're not old enough. Crystal Gale.
Yeah.
Oh, was she?
Brown Eyes Blues.
I know Crystal. Well, I know Crystal Gale. She had the hair down to the floor.
Yeah, even in 6-inch heels, her hair was still to the floor.
But I didn't know she was Loretta's sister, though. Yeah, news to me. But I knew who Crystal Gale was, of course. Yeah, she was infamous for having like the longest hair of any singer. All right, let's burn through these. Klaus, $5. That was Kent or UNT?
It'll go south immediately.
Yeah, we'll be here like 5 more hours. I think he means, was that Kent or cunt? Milwaukee Atheist again.
That was 0645 2017.
I can't memorize that number. The sad part is you have that goddamn number memorized now. You'll probably never forget it if your life depended on it. I don't want to fill my head with that kind of this nonsensical shit that I have too many numbers to memorize anyways. And
you already have too much of
this number. You're never going to forget that number now, Aaron. You know that, right? It's stuck. It's permanently ingrained in your brain.
Yeah, only for this month. And then once I've destroyed Hoven's ministry, then I can forget about it.
Fair enough. Milwaukee Atheist again, $5. I will bet all the money I have they're going to talk about the book of Job at some point.
Oh,
we just
you're
did,
wrong.
So you win.
Give us that money.
I just mentioned. And we didn't talk about it. I just mentioned it because you give a super chat for me to read it.
I'm sure that my Hovind debate. I'm sure that'll come up because Hovind likes to pull out.
That's not a debate, dude. What you're doing is not a debate. You first of all, you just give him information, and all he does is bloviate. I don't consider that to be something that's like a debate.
You're teaching, you're schooling, educating.
I don't feel that way. I feel like that scene out of the Avengers where Loki said, "You dull creature, I will not be bullied," and then the Hulk grabs him by his feet.
So someone has to superimpose your faces on that scene.
I honestly, when I saw that scene in the Avengers, I very nearly died. I laughed so hard I could not breathe.
That's good. That's going to be a thing now. That's going to be a thing.
Is that when the Hulk takes? I think no. I like the one the Hulk takes Thor and he just like slamming him back and forth. That's
no, not Thor. It's his brother Loki. Hulk grabs
but it wasn't
Loki.
Remember this? I thought it was Thor.
He grabs Loki by the ankles. So he's got Loki's
is that what
ankles, and he's smashing his head into the floor.
Yeah.
Yes,
I remember the
that's going to be a
scene,
thing
but I thought
now.
it was Thor. Maybe it was Loki. I got you. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's going to be a thing now.
Hard I couldn't bring oxygen in, and I was seriously fearing that I was going to die.
When is your last video for this debate series going out?
Oh fuck, I don't know. That depends. Whether Squirrely Ass will release the other videos of
you're gonna have a mic drop.
Series to me.
You're gonna have a mic drop in that last one.
Yeah, he can't hide them. And you know the sad thing is we've got a 65-year-old man who can't figure out how to use any kind of editing software to cover up the little SpongeBob SquarePants with a little anything. You know, I would put a flying dicky bird up there and you'd still get away with it, right?
You know what though? I was thinking about this. You kind of know where he's going to, like, you can already make, and I think you should do this actually, because it would be even funnier if you went ahead and made your rebuttals to him, because you can literally go back through all of Kent Hovind's debates and you can take out Kent Hovind from debate 1 and Kent Hovind from debate 2 and swap them. And it's this, it'll be this.
Somebody sent me a PDF of one of that apparently Kent Hovind wrote a book or paid someone to write a book for him. But anyway, we've got a book that says it was written by Dr. Kent Hovind. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be so valuable.
he wrote a book.
I am so going to be able to use this.
What's the name of it?
I think it was actually when are you being fuck, I can't remember what it was. Are you being brainwashed?
I don't know of his book, but have you ever read his Creationist Notebook?
That's obviously an autobiography.
It's called the series. It's like Arrival of the Fittest. Have you ever seen his 9th edition Creationist Handbook?
That's exactly the book I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Arrival of the Fittest.
Yeah, no, not only do I know that book, I've gone through every single scientific claim in that book and shoved it up his ass. It's god awful beyond god awful stupid. It's in a realm of
challenge to him.
Reality that, it's so fucking dumb.
He asks me questions that any high school kid should know. And of course, I know what any high school kid should know. And I ask him questions he can't answer. That's where the whole debate is going.
Nobody's told him about Google, have they?
I challenge him. I don't just ask him questions for him to make up shit. I ask him questions demanding that he produce the documentation to show he's right. And he can't do that.
That's too much.
My favorite thing, Aaron, is when he said,
I love when he pulled out of his ass.
I love when you ask him something. I love when you say something to him and he has no idea what you're talking about. So he'd be like, well, I don't understand this topic, but hey, Steve, why don't you go ahead and explain for the people listening?
Well, that's why he wouldn't. That's why he wouldn't do the second live debate with you. By the way, when we talked, like remember about 2 months ago when I told you that I was talking with him about coming back on and doing the number 2. The last time I talked to him, he actually said
he did a number 2 the first time.
Yeah, true. But listen to this. This is what he said. He goes, well, our styles are just too different, and I'm just not going to do it. Like, Aron is going to use all these big words that just confuse everybody, and it makes it sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm just not going to engage with that anymore. So
yeah, I'm just making it sound like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Polysyllabic words, they're a bitch.
Yeah. I am so enjoying this. I am so enjoying this because somebody gave me a huge compliment today when they commented on my video. That OMG, Aron Ra might be the guy who actually shuts down Hovind's ministry. Please let me be that guy.
I think you can. I mean, look, your debate with him is legendary. I mean, it's infamous. It's
and that's
what you did.
That's why I wanted to do a shout out when I mentioned Bill Ludlow and King Crocodile, but I didn't mention Heathen or Logic, and I felt bad that I forgot these other people off the top of my head. That I should have it would have been much better if I could have done a list of everybody that I know.
Yep. Logic to him go way back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so Logic, I apologize that I absentmindedly had a senior moment and didn't remember to put in your name.
But that's the discussion we've got to have. Logic and Kent. It's just
I met Logic, and his partner.
Yes,
I'm going to pronounce this Isathor original or
Isith
original.
Isith.
Yeah,
Isith original. I knew I was going to say that wrong because I've never said it right. But I met
she can't say it right either. Have you ever heard her accent? She can't say it right, correct?
Of course, I've heard her accent. It's fucking adorable.
But nobody cares when she says it because no matter what she says, it sounds good, right? Because
she's
like one of the coolest accents ever.
I got to have dinner. I got to have dinner with both of them, and oh my gosh, another senior moment. Don't you hate when you can't pull a name right away? And
I tell a story all the time. Our second episode, I forgot Steve's name. We came on live on the air, and I said, "I'm Kyle Curtis, and this is."
He's going to hate me for not remembering his name, but it's just.
So now you can't remember it, or now you can't remember it because if you don't say the name, they'll never know who you're talking about, so they can't hate you. So
yes, he will.
You forgot it.
He was the third person at the table.
Oh shit! Okay, that's true.
Is this someone we know? Wait, is someone that we would know, or the name we would recognize?
I feel so
Holy Kool-Aid
that I can't. No.
Thomas
it's
Westbrook.
Matt Dillahunty.
I was giving a speech 2 days ago, and I went to go mention this guy's name, and he's a celebrity in the realm of herpetology and general field biologist, and I couldn't remember his name. Mark O'Shea. It comes to me now, but when I'm standing in front of an audience, I couldn't remember the fucking name, and I love that guy, but I still couldn't remember his name.
Happened to me with Steve. Well, of course, I don't love Steve, though. I hate Steve. But
yeah, it's purely sexual, as you can tell. No love there.
Okay. Go, Steve. Run with it.
All right, go time. Fred, 5 pounds. Hello, Mr. R.A. Always a distinct pleasure to hear and see you. Much respect from Glastonbury in the UK. You got fans all the way in the UK.
Yay! I will be back in the UK in May.
He must be up late, dude, because it's 8 hours ahead of my time here. So, Dave Dallafer again, $2. Thank you, Dave. I didn't come from a rock. No spoiler alert. Andrew Patella, 10 pounds. I guess if evolution includes the Big Bang and the creation of the Earth, then psychology must include neurology, biology, evolution, abiogenesis, etc. I actually said that the other day. I was like, look, if you think evolution,
scientists believe. It's just everything scientists believe about anything. It falls into the evolutionism category.
It's weird that they do that, though. I never quite understood the reasoning. They think that that's apropos to do that.
They take
evolution has one thing to describe biodiversification.
Yeah, they take every belief that is not based on faith and classify it all as evolutionism, which they then classify as a faith-based belief.
Yeah, pardon my French, but that's fucking stupid. Yeah, I don't know why they would do that.
It would be fucking stupid if you hadn't already made more than $1 million doing that kind of shit.
Well, there's profit in dishonesty. Clearly there. Yeah. I mean, look at
if I had
Popoff.
ethics,
how many times he got fucked?
If I had ethics,
he's got busted how many times?
Yeah, if I would have so much money, I would be living in such a much bigger house. If I didn't have compassion for humanity, I could exploit other people. I could be doing human trafficking and everything. As a church leader, I could be doing all of that, just like a lot of the other church leaders are.
Yeah, I think that's called Catholicism. I didn't say that, people. I didn't say that. Okay.
How are there still Catholics?
I don't.
How are there still Catholics?
Dude, you see the pinned tweet that I have on my Twitter line, right? I mean, that pinned tweet has more likes than almost as any tweet that I've ever had. And it's a question I ask all the time. That same thing, because I think that people are complicit.
I got to tell you, somebody in my own family, I happened across a newspaper article in like 1990. So this is way before the priest pedophile thing was made public knowledge. I happened across this news article that there was a priest who was being criminalized for all of the child sexual abuse that he had done in 1990. And the governor of Louisiana pardoned him because he was a man of the cloth. So that means that all of his pedophilia rapes are okay. And the parents of this child were angry that the church had just forgiven the priest. So they went beyond the church beyond that division. They went to the larger group. They went to some bishop to complain to them to get the church to prosecute at a higher level. And they still refused. And the excuse that was given in the newspaper in 1990, some bishop said that if the Catholic Church were to prosecute every pedophile priest, the church would be into litigation in the billions of dollars. Now, I will never forget.
No doubt in that whatsoever.
Yeah, now that was before. That was the way before, many years before all of the rest of this shit broke as common knowledge. Yep. And I kept that newspaper clipping. And I remember somebody in my own family who is not Catholic, somebody in my family who is Mormon, who took that newspaper clipping and threw it away so that I wouldn't have reference to it because it defamed God. Mm-hmm. So they'll stand up for other religions.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it's funny that you say that. We did a show on the Catholic Church and with the grand jury report, and one of the things that really I put out there or I wanted to make sure that we talked about that day, because it just stood out for me outside of the child abuse, but the money thing. The church said in a report one time that the amount of dollars, I believe it was the amount of funds they had spent on litigation like this had been like $2 billion. Like that's what the church put out. But in that grand jury report, they found out that it was actually $6 billion. So it was 3 times the amount that the church was letting everyone know they were spending. So that's 3 times what they're telling people they're spending.
The word billion, just a single billion is just unimaginable.
Right.
And now let's look at Australia's. Let's look at Australia's Cardinal Pell, for example.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if you've been to Australia. I mean,
George Pell, yes.
Yeah, we know who he is.
We heard an earful about Cardinal Pell. So it had been for years that like the entire populace knew what an underhanded criminal this guy was. But it still took another half a dozen years after that before anybody brought him to charges. And Darth Ratzinger,
in his Prada shoes, in his red Prada shoes.
Darth.
the only pope that resigned and then had to be put into solitary confinement, he had to be put in seclusion for protection of the Nazi youth, who literal Nazi youth, who is on record as having protected all of these pedophiles. The reason we have Pope Francis now, because Pope Benedict had to be taken out of commission and locked away somewhere for his
But
own
don't you
good.
think Pope Benedict missed his calling? He would have made a killer foil as an actor, like literally like a Darth. He had that look like this guy is freaking Satan incarnate or something.
Okay,
Yeah, he looks like a James Bond villain.
Every picture I've ever seen of Darth Ratzinger, I mean Pope Benedict.
Yes,
Yeah, that's his style.
yes.
Yeah. So I'm saying he missed his
Creepy.
calling.
Fuck.
All right, let's get through this thing.
So
Just, you know what? I think this is the longest show we've ever had. I think you might have, this might be the record.
You know, Steve, you really need to be more efficient at reading through these things.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible super chatter reader. Okay, here we go. Andrew, excuse me, the Island Earth, $5. Just a fan saying hi and showing support. Thank you. I wish I got to watch more, but I'm only afforded a couple minutes for break. Keep up the good work. You know, it might be a good thing you didn't watch this whole thing, but
thank you for spending your break with us, though.
Yes. I mean, he's working and he spends a break with us. That's awesome. Flint, $10 or 10 pounds. Aron, do you remember the Baptist that was telling you that you could not prove 2 + 2 = 4? He seems never to have read Bertrand Russell book on the very subject.
What?
Even the clever ones don't get it. Yeah, really? Somebody was telling
What?
you can prove 2 + 2 =
There's
4.
a
It just
common
takes a
thing.
lot to do. You can do it.
Believers are okay with not having any evidence of their position as long as you can never present evidence that it's wrong. So they will do whatever they can to pretend that they know things because you don't know things.
I get it. That's true.
Knockdown Wheel, $5. Aron, when is your next classification of life video? I'm sorry. What will it be? And please don't stop them. They're awesome.
I won't stop them. I'm going to miss that series when it's done, and it's nearing conclusion. We've only got a half a dozen videos of that series left. And when my wife suggested that I do that series, I'm embarrassed that I didn't realize what a good idea it was. And it was like I'm 3 episodes into it before I realized this is the best thing I've ever done. I absolutely
they're
love
fantastic.
that series. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they'll be there.
And
They'll be in
nobody-
there in
the funny
perpetuity.
thing about it, nobody's ever done a series like that, ever.
Between that
It's
and the foundational falsehoods, you've done an awesome job, Aron. That's all I got to say as a
Oh, yeah.
producer of this show.
Definitely proud.
It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, they're very concise. They're people can go look at them for reference, and they're there. Like, boom, you want information on it?
A friend of mine
you can go right to that particular thing. Mm-hmm.
I've
a friend of mine
actually
that's a
seen
teacher
PBS.
uses them.
I've actually seen PBS doing a series that kind of mocks or kind of mimics mine. Not mocks, but
I have a good
kinda
friend
mimics
that's a
mine.
teacher. That's a teacher, Aron, who uses. I sent you that email that he sent me that he didn't know that we knew each other and was just watching an episode. We went to high school together, we're really good friends, and he became a teacher. I hadn't spoken to him in 10 years, and he emails me out of the blue saying, I saw that you had Aron on your show the other day. Please let him know that I use his videos when teaching. He's a biology teacher. He uses those videos in his classes. So
that is absolutely the best news. I mean, seriously, of everything I do, the counter apologetics fund though that is not as big a deal to me as the educational stuff that we, the little bit of educational stuff that we managed to do. So that's why I'm really going to miss this series. The systematic classification of life has on a few occasions required that I contact and commune with professional scientists for suggestions, advice, or for study reference guides or what have you. And I really appreciate the rapport that I've managed to develop with professional paleontologists and so forth on this series. That's really why I'm going to miss this. And that's why the biggest thing, the most enheartening thing that I've been able to do in the last year was when I was able to present the Phylogeny Explorer project in London a month ago at the Tetrapod Zoology Conference. I was so stoked. I was so beside myself to make a contribution to science, to be surrounded by professional scientists and be treated like a scientist, even though for you know how life interrupts the things that you plan. I never got quite to the graduate degree, and so I'm always going to be ashamed of that. But
I think you've more than made up for that, though.
Yes, I don't think that's something to be ashamed of. I mean, look, I'm a lay person as well, but you know what? You reach a certain level that when you have a lot of people that are your friends that are experts, and you reach a level where at least they have some respect for you, and they don't think that you're a complete idiot in a specific topic, or they don't think you're incompetent. I'm going to take that as high praise, because I know people, and you know a lot of people as well, for them to say you're not an idiot is the highest compliment you can get, right? Because they don't have to say you're smart. They don't have to say you're brilliant.
What's happening now, though, Arn? What's happening now?
What's that?
I was just saying that everyone now is super chatting in their love for your series. So we're literally going to 6:00 a.m. is the end time of this stream. Okay, we're just going to set it right now and just keep them coming, guys. We're going to commit.
I can't read this. Aaron, I'm a patient student. It went away.
I don't know.
We're getting ready to read it. But real quick, the joke of the night is brought to you by Gregorian, who says, "But guys, Pope Benedict did the most to fix." Hold on, what he said. It scrolled up too fast. Anyway, he was saying that Pope Benedict did the most for the abused kids. So there's your joke of the day.
Yeah. I'm not touching that one. But
yeah.
Anyways,
just keep reading. Just read through, Steve.
Devil Dog, 2,000 yen, which is I think $5. He says, doubt is a virtue. It's not. It's fine to strive for doubt because it's a mindset like skepticism. You should strive to doubt all things because that avoids things like confirmation bias. And doubt does not mean unbelief. Doubt actually means you're not convicted.
We don't have time to go through it right now. We've already been through it.
Time. That's $2. We're trying, Kyle. We're trying. Hang on. We got it. Time. $2. You guys got sex toys girls numbers for a friend? I don't have any sex toy girl numbers for myself. If I did, I'm certainly not the fuck going to give them to you, Time. Okay, just saying. I got maybe one. A kid knew $5. I talked to Chris. Have him contact me. I'd like to discuss the Bible with him. How do I contact him to arrange this? I think you just did. You can go find him on Facebook. He's a friend of mine, Chris Hansen. He goes under. Not doxing him. That's actually what he goes by. Not his real name, I don't think. But anyways, maybe it is. I have no idea. But that's what he goes by. So.
Real quick, I have a correction. He said that he did more than Francis. I didn't see that part, but. Sure.
Justin James Human, $2. I'll kiss the ring. Philosophical agnostics unite. Thank you, buddy. Power to you. Andrew B, $2. No comment, but thank you. The Lace Damien, $300. Just wanted to say hi to you guys. Let's do a history show again. Aron Ra, I fucking love you, man. Sincerely, Rick Yivit. How do you pronounce Rick's last name? Nemesis.
Ifrak.
Yeah, Ifrak. Yeah,
he's an ancient. He's an ancient. You should interview him, Arn. He's fascinating. He's an ancient coin guy, and he is just. I could listen to him for hours. Like he is just.
Yeah, this was
why
him.
You guys brought this up. Why you guys brought this up? I have somebody scheduled for next week that I'm going to be interviewing on my podcast, but I just want to throw out to the audience if they want to make any suggestions, you can reach me at aronra@gmail. I'm that easy. But my podcast is a little difficult to find guests for because my motto is that anybody can complain and everybody does, but I'm tired of the negativity. I want to hear somebody that not only has a positive solution to propose, but that is already working to affect it. So put me in touch with somebody who's doing something to make things better, whether that's bringing, fresh water to people in Uganda or whatever the hell it is. Doesn't matter. Let me talk to those people.
Ooh, you need to talk to? He needs to talk to Hans Jorgen from Be My Eyes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Remember him? That was
our first podcast we ever did.
That guy was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, he has an app that people can actually use to see that you can call other people and they can show them the thing on the phone and they'll tell you what your can of soup is or something. So we help Be My Eyes.
But his story, like he actually went blind doing this. Like he was creating this app for people who were going blind, and he actually went blind himself.
Really nice
and
guy.
just the story's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep,
But anyways, thank you, Rick.
interesting.
Rick Efrek, he's the new Mystatist, the ancient coin guy. And I will honestly go on a limb and say that he has one of the most interesting things when he comes on. I don't know what it is about coins. I never thought I'd be interested at all, but I'm fascinated as fuck when he comes on. My mind is just like, this is brilliant. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
don't understand coins, but he's so good at it.
good.
So I enjoy your
I got
conversation.
to show you my since you mentioned coins, I've got to show you my recent favorite. This was one that was in recent.
Rick, you got something you're going to have to value
British. This is Darwin facing a chimpanzee, and this is a British pound.
That's good. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
I think
that's a
it's
pound?
out of circulation now, but somebody gave it to me, and I'm so very happy to have it. They also gave me. I have it here.
That would never happen over here, though. That's what I want to say. Like they would never put a coin with Darwin looking at a monkey over here. Would never happen.
Okay, and this is a 10-pound. I'm trying to get it where it's no reflection. This is a 10-pound British note that I have framed with Charles Darwin on it. Yes,
that's awesome. That's cool. They do that. That would never happen over here.
No.
This was given to me at the University of Manchester, and I want to. I don't even remember that guy's name. I feel so remiss, but thank you so much. Oh, good. He wrote his name on the back of it. So, Paul Samartzis. I have.
Aaron is horrible at remembering names today. You know what? 5 minutes after this show ends, is like, what the fuck show was I just on? What the was that? Non-sec what? Okay, Kiwi H. He's tried, I'm sure. Kiwi H, $2. Come to New Zealand. There you go. I'll go to New Zealand.
I would love to come back to New Zealand.
Do it.
Especially, I'd like to go down to the Southern Island. I've been to Auckland twice. I love Piha.
I'll go. I need a vacation.
Don't eat the 1080p. Don't eat the 1080p.
Don't eat
Knockdown wheel, $5. Let me just get through this real quick, then we can converse. I got like 10 left. Knockdown wheel, $5. My first and only black eye coming from a flaming marshmallow. No jokes. So we got a black eye from a flaming marshmallow. That must be a hell of a story. We're going to talk about that.
There's
one
so
day.
much to unpack.
Justin
there.
James. There's a lot to unpack there. Justin James, Hunim, Human, $5. That's the beautiful thing about humanity. We're all so similar yet different. Just remember, hate is foolish and love is wise. That's deep. Deep.
Yeah, but hate feels good sometimes.
A Sandring, $10. Thank you very much, Aaron. And I would love to discuss our political views and where we can find agreement and maybe change some views. Regardless, mass respect for everything you do. And Sandring was the gentleman that was the truck driver here. So mad respect for you. Okay, I love this name.
Thank
the
you so
Dankest Stank. It should be the Stinkest Dank.
I dated her.
That's great. Yeah.
Oh,
better you than me.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Stinkest Dink, $2. I lost a friend who can't BS. Thank you for fighting back. You know what? I've known people actually that have followed him, but you know what? I've known a lot of people that realized that he was full of shit. So it can happen. Kagi, $7. Arn, have you nicknamed your blank? Do you call it Aron Rod?
That was for when I was a teenager. You give up naming your tool when you're an adult.
AKA yes. All right.
Yeah, and then AA, our Russian friend, 200 rubles. Aaron, why do you ever get Baltica beer? It's not very good even by our standards. Baltica beer?
Baltica beer. What the hell is that?
Baltika.
Baltica.
No, it's
Baltica. Yeah, but I used to drink the number 6 porter, but then I discovered the beer store that I went to, the best that they had was the number 6 porter, and I was taking Russian language at that time, and but I've recently discovered the Imperial Stout, and I love the Imperial Stout quite a lot actually. The only problem I have is that every other Baltica label is in Cyrillic except the Imperial Stout, and it always pisses me off. I want Imperial Stout if it's Baltica, it should be in Russian Cyrillic.
Okay.
I know nothing about
Milwaukee
Russia.
Atheist again. I don't know Cyrillic either. Milwaukee Atheist, $2. Aaron, I sent you the PDF to
Well,
Hogan's
ask
book.
Milwaukee Atheist because he knows Russian really, really well.
Does he?
He knows pirate too.
No, seriously, he is Russian. He knows Russian really well. I used to brag that I took Russian language for a little bit, but then I met him, and he has to speak Russian every day, and blows my doors, and just makes me feel humiliated that
I wasn't being funny either. He really is. We did an episode of him where he came on, and he's like, he knows untold amounts of pirates, and he's got a friend that he brought with him that's I want to say he's a professor or he's a pirate He's a pirate historian, and they just, for that hour and a half, just blew my mind with the amount of things that they knew about. I mean, just things that you wouldn't think about, the little details. It was fascinating.
I can tell you that I've had plenty of rum in his basement.
Nice. That's excellent.
Yeah,
I got Milwaukee Atheist to actually appreciate Stormseeker, which is a pirate metal band. He's like, yeah, you're right, Steve. They're pretty cool. I'm like, I told you. All right, Nicholas Brand, $5. Aaron, I'm a paleo student who teaches labs, and I've recommended your videos to my students to help them understand cladistics. Thank you. That's about as high as praise as you can get. I don't know anything else.
It is.
That you can.
We had him on the show.
So thank you.
He actually came on the show and did a presentation on dinosaurs, and he's a he's fantastic too. You guys should actually connect. I mean, you
can get Trevor Vale on. Yeah. We can get Nicholas Brand on.
I'm doing a little bit something different than I have been in late recent times. I mean, I've done a lot of atheist and skeptics and humanist type conferences, and after I went to the Tetrapod Zoology conference, I'm going to be doing a lot of more straight up science conferences. I love
that's cool. Yeah, I imagine they'd be less contentious than the battling religion all the time.
It's nerdy. They're always nerdy, but I love that. I have what they call a nerdgasm. I geek out.
Steve does that too when you say definition.
I had one of those the other day. I was out with a friend, and we were having a very nerdy conversation, and I was like, "This is hot." So, anyways, it was pretty cool, actually. Flint Reed, £5. I consider Foundational Falsehoods an absolute classic of its kind. Simply awesome work. Thanks so much for that alone. Well, there you go.
Thank you.
Oh, and Milwaukee Atheist, $2. Steve, you didn't read my last super chat. I think I read all yours, Milwaukee Atheist. I'm looking. Yeah,
Milwaukee Atheist. Next time you send one, just to fuck with Steve, put it in Russian.
Oh, you want to hear me speak Russian?
He can.
He
puts me to shame.
I don't know.
I'll tell you, the greatest thing that ever happened on the show was the time that Steve, I don't know what happened. We lost a bet or something like that, but Steve had to sing the last super chats. It was great.
There was
we lost about 20% of our sub base on that one.
For reference,
there was 2 times I was scheduled to speak in Russia, one in St. Petersburg and one in Moscow. Both of them canceled. But I had already given a scientific presentation on evolution in Russian, and I was determined that if I'm ever sent to Russia, I would not. I went to Poland, and I had to have a translator, and that just destroyed my show. So I just decided if I ever go to Russia, I'm not doing a translator. I'm going to do it in Russian. But it just
committed, man. Committed. I would go with the translator. That's the much easier. Less work.
I'm determined. If I'm invited to Russia to speak, I'm doing it in fucking Russian, and I will understand the Russian that I'm saying.
That's badass.
I may be in the Q&A, but I will do the presentation in Russian. And I will do it right.
Just get somebody to record it for you and lip sync it.
There's a lot of practice I can do on that. Like I said, I might be shit in the Q&A, but I will know what I'm saying when I'm saying it.
That is true. And you don't have that lag that comes with having somebody sitting up there trying to. I see that a lot with.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
When you say a sentence and you have to listen to the guy, and when I did it in Germany, I had a translator then too, but the guy in Germany was brilliant. His timing was wonderful, and I could tell we were getting the laughs that I was expecting to get. And but the guy in Poland, I'm sorry to say, no offense against the guy, but he did a lot of like as he's trying to figure out the translation. And so that when that was the one time I had it, and he ruined the presentation. And so I'm sorry I just said that. I mean, hopefully he'll never see this, but that's why I decided if I ever do it in Russia, I mean, I'm never going to do another translator again. But if I just won't speak if I can't manage the language. But if I'm doing it in Russia, I'm doing it in Russian.
That's good.
I could, in theory, do
speaking of Russian.
But...
Now that you say that, we have people I didn't even know we had Russian viewers, but people with Russian names are popping in the live chat and saying things in Russian. So
yeah, that's AA. He's the one that does super chats. He asked in Russian. What is the question? It is difficult to get the Baltic. Is it difficult to get Baltic in the States, or need help to translate? That's what he asked in Russian.
No, it's not difficult. I have to go to a very specialty beer store that is 17 miles away from my house.
Wow.
But it's not just to get Baltic. It's to get anything I like. I go to a specialty beer store.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to hit tonight after this discussion. Okay, this is the longest we've ever ran. We're gonna finish this up. We've got two more that just came in. ESO, $2. Thank you. He says support for the support for the poor bull. Thank you. We appreciate that. And Theomaki, $5. Hi, Aaron. How's Lilandra? What's your take on Jordan Peterson? Oh, we're not going to go down that route tonight. I'm not going to go down that route tonight.
I'll tell you how
he can answer. Yeah,
Jordan
I'll tell you
Peterson?
how Lilandra is doing. Lilandra is on science writing. She's on a Masters of Science Writing program at Johns Hopkins University, and you have to say it that snooty way because it's one of those schools. And I'm very proud of her for getting the gig. She's doing homework for Johns Hopkins.
That's awesome.
That's where Dr. Bowen says, and Megan go. They're friends of. Yeah, they love it too. So, you know,
I also have. He knows. I also have a friend, Dr. Frank Sturgis. He was in Johns Hopkins for a while.
She's already got a bachelor's degree from a West Texas school, but when she gets her master's from Johns Hopkins, it's like, praise be unto her.
Well earned too.
Two more questions from Theomaki. What is your favorite black beer, and is atheism still stigmatized in Russia?
I've never been to Russia. I've had 2 trips to Russia that were canceled, and I'm very upset about that because I've always wanted to go. I mean, always wanted to go. Why do you think I would have taken 2 years worth of beginning Russian? They canceled the intermediate class, and I kept taking the beginning class because I was determined to go. My favorite black beer, that's difficult to say. We often will go to Brazilian steakhouses, and I love Chingu. Chingu goes very well with spicy picanha. However, when I was in Australia, there was Cooper's Black and there was White Rabbit. And I like both of those so much that I remember their names.
Nice. Mine would be Stone. I love Stone.
IPA Stone? Yeah, Stone IPA is good.
Just their whole line.
Isn't Stone is the one that does Arrogant Bastard?
Yes, they do that. They do double heart.
What state are you in?
Carolina, North Carolina. North Carolina.
Evil Twin Find Bozo beer.
Evil Twin Find Bozo.
Yep. Try 2 of those and report your condition.
Oh, listen, man. One regular beer will get me buzzed.
Oh, is that a double IPA or is that a triple IPA?
I'm a lightweight.
It's not an IPA. It's an Imperial Stout. It's a 17.2 ABV.
Oh, that's just high. I don't know if it tastes good.
I'd be dead.
So
you know what?
For New Year's. Yeah, just do the math on what 2 of these beers will do to you. If because one of them is like worth a 6-pack.
I would be able to drink a half of a beer.
I'm not even lying.
Yeah,
they have
my
a beer.
son came over one night. My son came over one night for a barbecue, and I let him have some of my specialty beer. And we were going to go out to see Judas Priest at the Bomb Factory later that night. And he got up after 4 beers and he was staggering around like, how the fuck am I drunk? I've only had 4 beers. And I had to show him what kind of beers he'd been drinking. Did you see the ABV on these?
I'd be blacked
Aaron,
out.
I just went to Evil Twins webpage. They actually have 2 types of imperial stouts. One's called, well, they have a whole section, but the ones that stood out was one's called Double Barrel Jesus, and the other's called Pappy's Even More Jesus.
Aaron,
I've had even
Lawrence
more
said that he
Jesus.
sent you the he
That
sent you
sounds
the
really
PDF
good.
for the Hoven book, by the way.
Even
was,
more
was,
Jesus.
was it
pork.
Lawrence? Was it
Yeah,
Lawrence that sent me the
Lar-
PBS?
Yeah, he sent you the
I'm
PDF for the Hoven
embarrassed.
book.
I have to say, Lawrence, I did not realize that was you. I didn't even remember. The name didn't even register. I thought that was just some random schmo that sent me that. I do apologize that I didn't recognize.
Well, he is a
your
random
name on it.
schmo, but he is your illegitimate
Lawrence,
bastard love
not.
child, right?
Okay, to close out this show, and thank you guys for sticking with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Aron, for definitely sticking with us. Sorry about the initial waste of time, but we can't foresee these things. So please plug your Patreon and your channel and anything else that you have coming up that you want to do that. And then to take us out, we're going to have Jason King say some words, and then we'll close out.
Aaron, you got anything?
Oh no, I thought he was. I thought he was finishing, and then we were going to like get in hold music or something. I just wanted to throw it if I can. I would love to be in the debate circuit, not just on online debates like I most often do. I like the live audiences. I like to be physically there on stage with my opponent where I can address his audience rather than mine. So I don't mind debating in churches or what have you, because I don't want to preach to the choir.
Okay. And guys, I'll just tell you to go to Aaron's Patreon. Is it patreon.com/Aron Ra?
Yes.
Go to his Patreon and support him. Yeah, it's up to people like you guys that keep him supported and doing the good work that we talked all about the things that he does and what he puts out, and you guys feel that. So make sure that if you can, you definitely go and support Aron. And to close us out, we're going to end on this. We'll be back tomorrow. I think I can't even think of. Oh yes, Ole Anthony tomorrow. Aron will be back with us with Ole Anthony, and then McCamey Manor on Thursday. Jason released a video that I listened to. I put myself on mute a few minutes ago and listened to his remarks. So we're going to let him kind of sum up how he thinks the evening went, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8.
And idiots. If there's ever somebody that has even slightly a fucking imagination or any kind of fucking like real philosophy, we have to protect our champion against that. We can't allow Aron Ra to be exposed to nuance. No, we're gonna have to shut this shit down. We're gonna have to fucking, yeah. I think this is gonna go down. This debate right here. I'm probably going to feature this on my channel. It's going to take the place of the Sauron Suit and Seti because, wow. It ain't a debate if you don't let the other guy talk. It just isn't. I'm sorry. And if you don't let the other guy talk, then you lose. You just vicariously, that's a word, look it up. I'll spell it if you want.
I need a beer.
Vicariously lost the debate for your man. Because...
Nonsequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated.